We've got audio and video. Perfect. All right, and where do we put them? Right here? Okay, very well. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, LVE tribe, honorable judges, as well as everyone else listening. On this rather precious, radiant, which will be heated day of the summer of Shabbat in California, from California, the US of A, belonging to the 5th of the 5th month, just 4 more days, and it'll be Tisha B'Av, the most fatidic day for the story of the Jews of the year 5993 from creation, corresponding to the 10th of August of the year 2024. We shall study yet another chapter of wisdom and discipline, part 29, Chokhmah and Musar 29. Can we change the apocalypse, part 12? Of course, sometimes we talk about other things, but today we'll try to continue on with a bit of the line of the subject. We've got a lot of things that sometimes we have to take into dialogue and consult, and it's a part of why we're here. We're here to learn, and that is the message of being here during this time. So then, all of you are very welcome for today's study. Let us begin with a word of prayer. Our Father that art in heaven, we give you thanks for this precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because we are alive, because we are desirous of learning, of being instructed, and being a part of that unique people that you will place over the ruling of this earth. I ask you that you bless us and that your blessing be in every one of your children throughout this whole flat earth. In your precious name, YHWH Eloheinu. Yahweh has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth: Obed Hernandez, Mexico; Angie Lisbeth Salcedo, Colombia; Felix Antonio Rodriguez, England; Sindri Araceli Lopez Perez, Guatemala; Graciela Lopez Mateo, Guatemala; Olga Marina Perez Aquino, Guatemala; Carmen Luisa Arevalo Juarez, Peru; Oda Mendoza, the US of A; Juan Samuel Duque Orozco, Spain, as well as Heidi Robledo, who's here with us today and will be celebrating her birthday. A very happy birthday to you, Heidi. As well as every one of you, a great big hug on behalf of us. May it be your last birthday under the government of Babylon. That is our wish, but that depends on Yahweh and his creation plans. Also, I'd like to send one last greeting, unless they report themselves the following ex or who have been members of the Eternal Truth: Juan Manuel Medina, Argentina; Plinio Rodriguez, Ecuador; Melissa Bravo, the US of A; and Arnulfo Silo, Guatemala. To each and every one of you, a great big hug. If you're still listening to us, then you can get in touch with us, and we'll add you to the list. Farewell. The world cannot escape the book of the apocalypse, and that, to tell the truth, it is true, but actually what is not true is what the world, who accepts the apocalypse, the Christian world especially, believes to understand of what the apocalypse says, and they think they understand of everything that we see in Scripture. It is difficult, very difficult, to live in this world and to understand the meaning of why we're here, where we're headed, and what is the reason of everything. What is the reason of pain and everything? It is difficult, actually. It is really difficult. A friend of the Eternal Truth was commenting to me that he sees that many people in different aspects, in different contexts, they have bits of truth, because it's like a puzzle, this whole thing. Some see that the one to blame is the devil, whom they think exists, but they don't blame everything on the devil, but rather human beings, the presidents, the governments, the people, knowing that there is a devil, but they don't blame the devil entirely, but the one to blame is the human being, but they have an incoherence, but they see certain truths in there. That's not the devil directly. Others maybe see other things, like, for example, God does not exist, or God is evil because he allowed a certain person in my family to die, in my lineage. Everything goes bad with me, and God doesn't take care of us. And then they all have pieces of truth, but they don't get to see entirely how exactly is the scripture of this whole situation. It is very difficult to understand the plan of creation. It is written in scripture, but it is very, very hidden or concealed, like the scripture says. I'd like to recommend to every one of you, if you like, in whatever we can help, if you have a problem in this life, and that you know that they're all originated by different situations, which are shocks, which our mind transforms them per se into something which is a pain. So then if we discover the shock, if we discover the beginning of these emotions, the problems can be fixed. Not everything can be fixed, of course, because we live in a world that's absolutely imperfect. We don't know everything. We don't have any or almost no tools at all, but we try to do everything in the best way possible. And I invite you to not forget about we offer a free service for this, which is called Angelina's Consult. You write to her. Her Facebook is in the description of this video, as well as every other video. Very well. We've entered into the fatidic month of Av. In the fatidic month, it's that way because according to the Jewish history that they tell us, the 9th day, or Tisha B'Av, is the 9th day. It was the day in which, well, first, it was the day in which Yahweh denied the entrance to the people of Israel into Canaan and made them wander around in the desert for 40 days, and that was already a terrible curse. And then afterwards, he destroyed, or made them destroy, the temple on the 9th of Av, the first one. Then he destroyed the second temple on the 9th of Av, and then there is a series of historical events that, according to them, they took place on the 9th of Av. So then it's a day that's very, very dangerous in their point of view, in which many, almost everyone, fasts so that tragedies don't come to them. Well, this will take place within 4 days from now. It'll be Tisha B'Av. We could care less about it. I'm just telling it to you like a historical event. Today is the 5th of Av, of the 5th month. Very well. Shemah Israel, YHWH Eloheinu, YHWH Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh is one alone. That is the base of the whole truth. It is the secret, is the key, the main key that opens all the other secrets of the scriptures. Proverbs 25:2, it is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, the Bible, the scriptures are concealed, even though the whole world believes and they read and they think that they are obtaining all the truth. They are getting a scripture that is concealed. I'm not saying it. The very same author said it, that the Bible is concealed, that it is the glory of Elohim. It is the glory of Elohim. It's something that cannot be explained. It is the glory of Elohim to conceal the word, and it is the glory of the king, of the kings, to search out the word, which means is that the word is encrypted, and the kings, whomever they might be, have the capacity of being able to understand what's encrypted, not the rest. It is very simple. I'm not saying it's in scripture. The whole world will say these words: Yahweh, my strength and my stronghold, my refuge in the day of tribulation, as Jeremiah 16:19-21 says. And to thee shall come the peoples, all the peoples, not the people of Israel, not the Christian people, the Muslim world, all the peoples, from the ends of the earth, and shall say, only lies was the inheritance of our fathers, vanity to which there is no avail. If it is man that makes himself gods, then they are not gods. That is why, behold, I will make it be known unto you. This time I shall show you the strength of mine arm, and you shall know that my name is Yahweh. Whatever that might be gods, they are made by man. Another one of the things that this text says is that it doesn't say if it is Satan, the one that makes the gods, so that the man can worship. And doesn't say that. Whom does it say that it's the originator of the fake gods? Man. If it is man, not Satan, not the fallen angel, if it is man that makes himself gods, who makes himself gods? Man does. Then they are not gods. That is why, behold, I shall make it be known unto you this time, like never before. That's what it says, this time. The other times, it was encrypted. This time I shall show you the strength of mine arm, and ye shall know that my name is Yahweh, and the strength of his arm is the Messiah. The strength, the power, the glory, the activity of Yahweh in the world will be done through the Mashiach. That is why he shall show the strength of his arm. Malachi 2:17, that is why we have Rydon still here. Rydon, you said, right? Rydon still here. Who's a demon? I think he's good. He's not so evil. A demon. You have Eddie. We have, who's this guy here? Captain America, whomever that might be. Captain Marvel, right? She. How is it that we don't know who she is? Captain Marvel. And also an octopus that's so upset. Why is he so upset? This one's not so upset. And we also have this one. What's the name of this one? Tanjiro. We've got Tanjiro. We have to have a Deadpool since the movie's out. We need a Deadpool. We need, what do you call a Wolverine? I mean, just whatever. We put them all here, all the creation here. It is man that makes himself gods. We need them all. Why? Because Malachi 2:17 says, ye have wearied Yahweh with your words. And you say, in what have we wearied him? In what? Let me know. In that ye say that whomever doeth evil pleaseth Yahweh. I said, you said, the whole world says it, even though they don't know what they're saying, and that whomever doeth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth. Exactly. Or else, where is the Elohim of justice? Where is the Elohim of justice? This world needs an Elohim of justice. It doesn't need a Wolverine, doesn't need a Homelander, no, doesn't need a Superman. Batman needs the Elohim of justice. Where is the Elohim of justice? Who is the Elohim of justice? Well, the Elohim of justice started to be formed. The Elohim of justice is the Mashiach. And the Mashiach is coming, and the Mashiach is here on earth. But we need the moment of his entrance, his glorious entrance into earth. Now, of course, it's not in that aspect. Very well. I'd like to thank you once again for all the presents that you have given us, for all the greetings, the private messages, public ones, cards, pictures, all your show of affection for us, which is rather very, very appreciated, and we value that a lot. Everything which you give us and you show us, present to us. Many people offered us and gave us money, presents to buy whatever we want. And also, actually, we thank you wholeheartedly for all the shows of affection that you have both for Leslie and for myself. And also, I've got this present to show you, which is from Abraham and his whole entire lineage. Many thanks, Abraham, which you sent us 2 packages of these. We don't have another package that doesn't exist, and this has only very little left. It's like some crackers filled with something. Many thanks, many thanks to Abraham's lineage, Abraham Castillo's lineage. Very well. I have 2 questions, and then we'll start off with today's subject. Let's start with the first one, then I'll read the second one. The first one is, hello, Christian. Many congratulations to you and Leslie. You are the light in this world of darkness. Yahweh may bless you continuously. I want to ask you something it's very intriguing to me. I understand the fact that we will all be saved, But how will the process be that people like Nicolás Maduro, the president who stole Venezuela's elections, the people hate him with lots of intensity, how will they accept him in the new renewed world? It's kind of like Paul Escobar, the one from Medellin, Adolf Hitler from Germany, and Osama bin Laden. Well, we'd have to first see what Osama bin Laden did first. Let's start with that. And the list goes on. I hope you may answer me live tomorrow, Semper Fi. Well, the question is very simple in my point of view. I believe I explained it last Shabbat. No matter what these characters have done, knowing that Elohim placed them there to rule, Maduro would not be ruling if Elohim didn't allow him. He says, I set kings and take away kings. That's it, it's over. So then Venezuela is being ruled by some guy that I don't know if he's good or bad. I don't know. Maybe he's bad. I don't know. I've never spoken to him. The worst reference of him. I'm not defending him whatsoever, but tell the truth. What do I know? What he's there for? I know that Yahweh placed him there. So then they follow a certain function. These characters will have to repair all the evil they did. That's it, yes. If he did away with the life of many people, he'll have to pay and ask to be forgiven for every one of those lives. So then I do not worry about that, because there has to be a restitution. I don't believe in just a forgiveness without any consequences. The consequences have to be repaired. Everything has to be repaired. So then, of course, they won't again have power. Of course, that is, of course. People have to learn to forgive. This is a give and take. We learn that to do evil is bad, but we also have to learn to forgive as well, because it's one of the things that we came here to do, to learn to forgive. So then, I don't worry about how it'll be. I think that the hate that there is in the heart, for example, in this question, we can see that there is such a hate that the one asking me this, I don't even know who it is. And even if I knew, I wouldn't say because they're anonymous, but I don't know who it is. I want you to know. Sometimes when I answer questions, I don't write down who it is to try to forget who it is, because I don't want to answer in a personal manner. But in this question, it would seem as if there is a certain hate against this guy, that maybe this guy deserves it. It's the most likely. But there is a hate that we have to work on. We have to surpass that hate and be above that. Be above that. We have to learn to forgive in every aspect. The one that is murdered, he will have to learn to forgive his murderer, because a society will not work where there's hate, rancor. That cannot work. We'll pass this phase, and it'll take a long time. Look, Yahweh, in what we can learn from Scripture in the plan of creation, dedicated or designed a period of time that is very long. 1,000 years of the era of the Messiah, where the supposed evil people, wicked or not so wicked, or the whole rest of the people that are not alive, they will be left dead for 1,000 years. 1,000 years is an extended time. If we go 1,000 years backwards, if it's 2024, we'd have to go to the age of 1024. What took place in 1024? I haven't the least idea what happened in 1024. But we are before the supposed discovery of America, or not? Wasn't it supposedly in the year 1492? No, the discovery of America. I'm talking, no. 1492. You have to go out and study history, whether it's true or not, because I wasn't there. The only thing I know is that Christopher Columbus, if that was his name, he went out in a glorious day. That's all I know. It was on August 3rd of 1492 from the port of Palos with the Pinta Maria and the Santa Maria. And he arrived supposedly to America on October 12th. The glorious day that he went, it was August 3rd. Nobody remembers that. They remember when he arrived. No, the day of the conquering of America, when we went, it was on August 3rd. So then, Mr. Cristobal Colon, we're talking about a long time before him. 1,000 years is a long time, way too much time. In 1,000 years, the Creator designed for the Messiah with the people that are alive at them without resurrecting them, with those that are alive at the time, without resurrecting in a massive manner. The Messiah has the capacity of resurrecting whomever he wants and whom he needs. That is a resurrection, a special resurrection, but whomever he wants. The rest, massively so, of everyone not. The millions or billions of people resting will continue to rest for 1,000 years. He'll see whether it's a minute, 50 years, or 50,000 years. Either way, it's the same. It's exactly the same thing. Why? Because death will be such a blessing, such a great blessing that we don't even notice. Because time does not pass for them. I know I've said this 1,000 times and we know this. But the subject is for those that are alive. Those that are dead, they don't even know how much time has gone by. Just imagine if we go with the Christian belief that they have consciousness. Do you know how boring it would be all these years waiting for the centuries and centuries of creation? It would be unbearable. Just imagine in hell. That would be even worse. The Jews, they believe in the reincarnation. That is another complete stupidity. People have written to me that listen to us, they're not of the eternal truth, and they, in one way or another, they understand that reincarnation could be a thing. Reincarnation could not be a thing. They did ask me if this reincarnation could not be a thing under any aspect, under the aspect that one goes back to live, but you don't have the memory of what you've already lived. So then it is no good to you to have made mistakes that you don't know which they are and you deleted them from your mind and to make the same mistakes again. So then the Jews believe in their stupidity because they're not so brilliant as they say they are. They believe that you come to the world again with the chance of repairing things that they've done wrong. If that were true, we should arrive normally to this age already with all the mistakes that have been learned. We should have such a society that is so perfect and good, and we don't have it. So then that means that we haven't learned a thing. We have learned technology, we have learned many things, we have not learned to dominate ourselves or not to make mistakes. So then, reincarnation would be for me the most unfair thing. If there is reincarnation, I would go against Yahweh, because in the end of it all, that in this point that I'm Christian Silva, and then in a different time I was, I don't know, Juan the second. And how horrible would that be? All the people that have known us Juan Segundo, different wife, other children. You might say, what is the sense of it all? I mean, that is crazy. The more you study what reincarnation is and what it teaches, it's crazy. It makes no sense. For me, it has to have life in itself to have sense. We are a being. We are a soul. We are an entity. I've always told you, ever since I've started to preach, it's been many years already, what I thought since before, I've always subjected the memory, our living, to the person. For me, the person are the memories. And if it's not the memory, then it is an essential memory, which is, memory is essential to the person. If we delete their memory, they don't know who they are, whom they love, or whom they hate, for example. They don't know anything about anything. That's a different person already. How many movies have we seen about some guys with a certain life? They've had an accident, their memory is lost, and they start a different life. They fall in love with a different woman, and their whole existence changes. Then when they get their memory, they are left with issues. If they even get their memory back, we are what we have lived. That is what we are. That is why we're so complex because since we were little, we've learned the Bible tells you only last was the inheritance of our fathers. It's talking about a person that has lived only once and has inherited lies from his parents. I do not believe, let that be very clear. You can believe whatever you want, but what I teach, what I believe, is that reincarnation, which I've studied it a lot, they almost convinced me. I studied reincarnation from the point of view of the Oriental religions, like for example, all the yogis and all the rest, the Hindus and all the rest. And I've studied reincarnation under the point of view, the Jewish point of view. And everything is great stupidity. A God cannot, a normal God, that it has just 1 inch of a forehead. He can't do that. He can't. Because a series of contradictions start that could never be fixed. Just like that. Ever. 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 So then, reincarnation is not something that, in my point of view, is viable under any aspect. But death is phenomenal in the sense that a person that is dead didn't ever notice that they were dead. That does not enter into our mind. We see death as something terrible, and we who are alive, we see it as terrible because we are attached to people that we love, or beings, or animals, or whatever, knowing in our mind that we won't ever see them again. That's the way it is in our mind, right? Because we've never seen any signs of anything. That there's never been a resurrection that we have ever seen or anything. It's just stories. But death in itself is a state of non-existence, and if one has a state of non-existence, then the dead who will continue during the millennium will not even notice. They cannot even notice. That is something fantastic. We talk about how God is evil, or that he has lots of wickedness because of death, and let's see whether or not death is something that is beneficial. Beneficial is like when you go to sleep and another person has to work, and you could be working, sweating, suffering, and the other one asleep. And of course, when he wakes up, he says, "What happened?" The other one worked like an animal. "Hey, you didn't even notice, but I had to fix this and that." Problems all over the place, and that is marvelous. So then, maybe we don't understand it, and I don't understand. I don't like it. Of course, I don't like it. Death for us is horrible, but maybe it is rather marvelous. Death is in the sense that for the person, not for those who are alive, for the person, time has not passed and has not suffered any shock because they're like suspended in time. That is rather, we'll understand it someday. Now, it'll take 1,000 years for the Messiah and those who are alive, and the few that the Messiah resurrects because he needs them or wants them, to reconstruct this society. It's not a quick change, because education takes a long time. All education takes time in this world. If it needs something, it's to be educated. We are miseducated, maleducated, incorrectly. We are born with parents that have not had the best of education, and we are educated wrong throughout society. So then we have different facets in this bad education. Some of us have certain good education, and in other things we fail consciously or subconsciously, and we cannot differentiate what is right and wrong. Sometimes we sustain that something is correct when it is actually outright wrong. We hurt ourselves and we hurt others, but we don't understand it due to the education that we have. When we do not accept corrections from anyone, it has to be from somebody very superior in order to accept corrections, or else they tell you to fuck off. Who the fuck are you to come and tell me? I mean, wow. So then, the period that God designed as a creator to educate the living, he said 1,000 years. And it cannot be any less, 1,000 years. And then evil will rise again. That evil that will rise again are speaking in a symbolic language, concealed, that no one understands. Satan is tied. It is wickedness that is in us, that bad education, that which is also submitted with the curses which Yahweh gave unto us. He will rise again after 1,000 years to go straight into hell, the purifying hell. No, just to hell, the sea of fire. It says, so the Christians say, yes, they will resurrect later, and they will be once again killed. Does that make any sense? No, none whatsoever. It makes no sense. If they're dead, leave them dead. Why do you want to rise them again and make them suffer again? What type of sadistic evil is this? It's not the content of the apocalypse. The apocalypse has to be fulfilled. The apocalypse is, if I speak to you in these symbolic terms that no one understands, except for a special group that is in a special school because they are being prepared for something that no one can even imagine to be prepared for, because there's no one in the whole entire world that imagines to be prepared to be the Messiah. And here, I invite you to listen if you understand to be prepared to be the Messiah. We are not waiting for the Messiah. We are preparing the Messiah. And the Messiah will be a group of people that in this earth they receive the light that no one else has received, that understands a level of comprehension that's impossible to be understood by others, and that it has a lot of forgiveness to offer. That is why in this question, which I can read between lines, that there's hate towards Maduro. We have to solve that Maduro is not worse than your neighbor. Maduro is not any worse than your mother. We're all equal. We had different roles to play, different roles. Some exercised evil more and others more good than evil, but they have to all learn. And if it'll take 1,000 years for the correction of the living, and during those 1,000 years, and it'll take the Messiah 1,000 years to prepare this whole society, maybe you didn't contemplate this, but when the time of the Messiah shall come, it won't be any easy to convince all the people and to teach all the people. There will be rebellions, there will be misunderstandings, there will be revolts. That is clear, because there is there's a reason why it's 1,000 years until the whole world works under the same instance, that is not a group just out of entrance of power or money or to crush people, but to make them better people, so as to obtain that level of confidence or trust or fidelity, knowing that they're saying the truth, and to erase every vestibule of religion, every glimpse of their culture. It'll take 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a long time. So then the Messiah will have a work that is very hard to do here. It's not something that all of a sudden the Messiah comes and everybody accepts him. No, 1,000 years. Yahweh considers that 1,000 years are enough to have in this world of the living, not that they're smart, but that they're living, to have a society that is completely balanced enough, and wise enough, intelligent, so as to work in those that are still resting, that haven't the very least of an idea of anything, that will rise up and they will run into a society that they have never known, like never imagined before, and they have to work in those billions of people. But in order for that, the whole world, all the society has to be one in the literal sense, one, not misunderstandings, not any glimpse of a difference, a perfection that doesn't even enter our mind. Barely then can evil rise again, or the wicked. I'll translate it to you: the wicked who are waiting to be educated. So then, if this society will take 1,000 years to educate, just imagine what it'll take for all the rest, a whole quantity of time that there will be. That is a complete eternity, where we'll learn, we're going to instruct and understand many different things, to have tools. That's why we don't even worry what Maduro does. What Maduro does, Yahweh wants him to do it. Because if he didn't want for Maduro to be there, then another harder would be there, and even harder than him. Hitler and all the rest. And let's see what they even did, what they thought and believed, actually. Either way, absolutely either the same result. I've seen Jews that are a little bit more thinking outside of the box, saying that Hitler was a blessing for them. It was a blessing for them. And I can assure you it was a blessing, but all these wars was to obtain the state of Israel, but we're not going to go into that right now, so let's just not worry about that. Let's take out the hate that there is in our heart. We cannot have any hate towards this president or the president's evil people. No, because actually, if we are in this place, if you are a part of the eternal truth, then you start to be a new nation. To get rid of the old values and to take on new values. Notice that in order to get into this point, Yahweh had us walk in a path for 15 years. The truth, I started to work in 2008, but if the eternal truth, as the ministry started back in the year 2009, well, we've already built on 15 years of ministry, and who knows if we don't need another 10 years until 2032. I don't know. Yahweh decides that. The only thing I know is that it'll continue on in this subject of learning. Don't think that we're ready in every aspect. No, we're not ready in every aspect. I also don't believe that we have to be ready in every aspect to be able to rule. No, of course not. But the basic aspects that Yahweh can consider that we have. And that is a part of this whole reunion. I'm not here just to teach you about the Bible. This is a special school in which you learn things that they're not even in the Bible. And to show you the things that are wrong also in the Bible. And now I'll read the second question. And remember that today Boca plays at 2:45 in California. I think it'll be, if it's 2:45 California in Argentina, in Mexico, and it's an extra hour in Mexico, or 2 more hours. Guatemala's 1 more hour? No one knows anything here. They're all Argentinians who say, I don't know. So if it's 1 more hour in Mexico, they'll play at 3:45. It's 2 more hours. It'll be 4:45. And in Argentina, it'll be at 8:45. Because here we play at 2:45. You calculate your time zone. We'll play precisely, give or take, 11, 12, 1, 2, in 3 hours. In 3 hours we play. In 3 hours we play. You look for the time, a way to look for to watch the game, however you can. I think it was Tarjeta Roja that I told you, 2:45 in California. Second question reads as follows. Ever since we got married, my husband comes out of work and he goes to eat at his mother's house. And at the end of it all, it is very rare when we eat together. We still don't have children, but I ask him if he's okay. Is that okay? I don't like it a lot that he's always at his mother's house. Because he no longer wants, because I no longer want to be a wife that way. I no longer want to be a wife that way. What happens with a husband that goes to eat over at his mother's house? What takes place? Well, this is education. Some maybe it'll hurt what I'll say. I'll say it in the most pretty as possible, the way I speak, pleasant, kind, soft, the way I speak. And I'm going to touch the heart of maybe many mothers, but for their own benefit, for their own good. Because if we don't learn here, then where? It is better to learn here or to be 1,000 years sleeping and you haven't learned a thing, or 1,000 years afterwards learning from someone else that'll give you classes, because they will give you classes. As it turns out, is that we have many things that are wrong. We have some that are okay, but many things are wrong. And the Latinos, I'm going to put them all in one bag. In every country, it varies a bit, the angle. Latin Americans, we have the mother, kind of like as if it were a Virgin Mary. Because the mother, I understand, there's only one mother, and all those phrases, there's only one mother. And she's the one that gave you life, and that's true, and many things are true, obviously. But If we don't learn to act with a certain code in this life, and I talk about code, I'm talking about moral rules, moral laws that are not always written, but you have to learn them in order to act in a way that you don't hurt yourself or others, because there are certain things in culture, not certain, but almost all in culture, that hurt you and others, and you don't even notice, and you think that you're acting well. And we make a whole bunch of DHSs. We cause them in us and in others. In order to speak about this story, I will tell you this story about Michi. Let's start with this story about Michi that Yahweh precisely showed it to me. Or it's not that he showed it to me in a dream or anything, made me live it in a very particular manner. It was actually funny, that it was hilarious. And this is a lesson for the mothers, the fathers, and the sons. Pay attention to my words. If you want to be great people, if you want to be just a part of the bunch that'll be educated later, that is your problem. Because this you'll learn now or later, but you will learn it. And not just because your mother has brought you up that way, or your grandmother, or in your nation it was that way, not because you think that it should be that way, it is that way. No, it isn't so. The story about Michi. The story about Michi is a story about the cat that I had never wanted to have. The cats, with Leslie, we were never really cat people, actually. We were never really cat people. We like dogs. We've always liked dogs. I've liked Doberman dogs, small dogs. Now it's the Chihuahua. That's my preferred ones. I like miniature pinchers. Now we have a Doberman again, which is Brian's dog. But not cats. Not cats. Cats for a different type of people. And that with Leslie and I are both cats because we're Leo. If you believe in that, we're Leo, and those of Leo are lions. We're cats, and maybe that would make for, I don't know, that we repeal other felines, smaller than us. I don't know, that we clash with them. We're very particular. It's not that they are obedient like the dogs. You call them and they come. They're more predictable, completely predictable, the dogs. Not the cats. You call them, they don't turn around. They don't even look at you. You have to call them. It's like you have to, when they want to, they do look at you. When they do want something, then they come and give you love. But it's whenever they want to, not when you want to. It's when they want to, when they're hungry. So then they're very much like Garfield. They're very egotistical, the cats are. It's apparently that way. Maybe it's not that way. It's what a human would see. They're very egotistical, solitary, likes to leave, doesn't like you to keep them, wants to be free. Like those women that want to be at home and they go to, at night, and then they come back happy. There's all kinds of things. And so then you try to identify these animals with people, how the people act. The people are more faithful. They're a lot more faithful. The dogs don't like to leave, and if they escape, it's not because they have pleasure. It's because they escaped and they're looking for their owner. Dogs are a lot more faithful. They're not the cats. The cats, they come when they want. They do whatever they want. They steal your food. They go up on everything, on the tables, on the counters, in the kitchen, and they own everything. If they want to scratch whatever, they don't accept corrections. The cat does not understand. If you tell the dog no, the cat just looks at you. Either he's just scared, but it's not like a dog that you can train. There are a certain level, I know you can. Don't say, no, I train my cat. Yeah, you can train him, but not like a dog. It doesn't understand like a dog. The dog, you tell him no, and the dog learns. If you tell him sit, the dog sits. Just give me your hand or your paw. The cat, it'll be crazy for you to teach him that. He likes to hunt. A cat is to sleep. They sleep a lot. It's a hunter. Even though they have food, they need the fresh air to hunt. And they hunt something, they need that because it's part of their nature. Not the dog that just wants to be there on your lap. He's a lap dog, or else he wants to be there with his owner. The cat is different, so we never liked cats. To top it off, once we had one, Then later, we didn't know what to do with the cats. I mean, we just had them for a couple of days that some people told us to take care of. We weren't, and we told Leslie we'll never be cat people. But the other time, Brian went to Taekwondo, and a cat, he got out of the car and he found him, and he was meow, meow, meow. Followed him to the Taekwondo door where the trainer would kick him out, but he was trying to shoo him out, shoo him away. The cat would stay there waiting for Brian, as if he knew him from all his life. The cat was waiting for Brian, and when Brian came out that night, the cat followed him, and he got underneath the car, right under the tire, under the car of Brian, is what I'm saying. And so then Brian didn't know what to do with that cat. He opened the door, and well, he grabbed the cat and brought him in, right? Put him in the car, and he came with the cat home. It was at night. It was at night, and we got here, opened the door, and the cat went out. Brian thought that it was the last time we would see the cat. It's not so close where they train. It's probably like 3-4 kilometers where he trains. And so then the next day we see the cat, and the cat came, meow meow, going meow meow, and then they like to touch our legs. We have to learn things. They segregate certain things, and the cat comes and they go on, and they're marking. It's not that they're caring; they're marking you on your legs. They have glands here, and so it says, "This is mine." It's not that the cat is caring with you and wants to do it. No, he's marking you, saying, "This is my property. This is my property." So then he goes in between your legs, and you've seen the cats do that. Well, because they're marking their territory, saying, "This is mine." Then he smells like that, and he smells it, and he knows that that is all his. So then the cat would come, and it would go in between our legs, and so I told Leslie, well, Leslie, feed the dogs. I don't know. Feed them with dog food. Or Leslie said it, I can't remember. So then Leslie went and laid some food there from Sophie and Mikal, and some water, and the days passed, and the cat would come in the morning, he'd come and eat, and at night he would stay here a bit, and then he would show up, and then it started to win over Leslie, and then in the morning she called him Michi. She would call Michi, Michi, when the cat would show up, coming from wherever, from the front, from the side. Cat would show up, it would answer to Leslie's call. It would say Michi, Michi, and Miss Lee would show up, meow, meow. He'd give him food, water, and that's how time passed. And one day the neighbor comes. No, hold on. The cat, we liked him a lot, but Leslie said, no, I can't have a cat here. I can't have a cat here. I will not have a cat. And we liked the cat, but we didn't want a cat. So then I took him to the neighbor, my friend Philip. My friend Philip. He's an old man. He's like 77 years old already. My main Philip, an American. He went and took the cat over to him. And there was Brian went, right? Took the cat over and tell him, give it over to Philip. He's married to another American woman. And then the brother of the wife there is there. The brother of the wife lives there, what I told you not to do. And also a nephew of the wife, and there used to be only one person there, and now it's 4 people that live there. And the son, Philip, same name. Never named the same name. Okay, you already did. Okay, anyway, taking that out. So then Brian goes with the cat to Philip, and Philip says, oh, what a pretty cat and everything. I can't have him, but he's precious. His name is Precious, because the cat would go there sometime, and sometime over here, a little bit over there. That's Precious. And they told me, his name is Precious. No, his name is not Precious. I told them within me, with Brian, no, his name is not Precious. His name is Michi. More common name, impossible, but his name is Michi. But the neighbors baptized him as Precious. So then Brian went to offer it to them. He says, no, I already have like 2 cats inside. I feed a cat, which they call here Robert, the feral. How do you write feral? Just a wild one you can't touch. You look at them and you give them food, but they're feral. feral, right?
Feral, ¿no?
Oh yeah.
Callejero.
Feral.
En Guatemala
Oh right, they're just street cats. Street cats. To top it off,
los gatos encima
if
de
you
eso,
don't touch them when
y
they're
de
little,
chiquitos no los tocas.
you won't ever touch
No los
them
tocas
because they
más.
get like,
Se
very wild,
salvajes,
and just
unos
look at you and they
salvajes que
leave.
miran de lejos y se van rápido.
They just run away. They're not friendly
No
at
son
ever.
amigables nunca.
They'll
Se
get
te
close
acercan con
with
la
the
comida,
food,
pero se van.
but they leave. But
Ahora,
if
si
you
lo
touch
tocas
them
de
when they're
chiquito,
little, they come
se hacen
very,
súper
very
amigables.
friendly. Okay, taking that out, this Michi, we don't know if
Esta
it was
Michi no sabemos si
feral
era
or not, but it was
callejero,
very,
ok,
very
pero era
small
muy
cat.
chiquita,
It was very
era muy
friendly, and so we
amiga.
told them,
Entonces le
no,
dijeron,
we can't have it.
dijeron, no, no la
We can't have it because
no
it's
la
a
podemos
precious
tener
cat.
porque es preciosa la gata.
We feed
Dice,
it every
nosotros
day.
le damos de comer todos los días.
And Leslie and I
Leslie o Leslie
said, what do you mean you feed him every day?
decimos, ¿cómo que le da de comer todos
We
los
give
días?
him,
Acá le damos de
feed
comer
it like 3
casi
times a day over there, and over there too. She eats a lot. What do you mean she eats here and there? But since it wasn't ours or theirs, we said, well, let it stay in the street, right? We're going to be feeding them between us and them. All this just to answer this question. So then, as it turns out, they said, no, we don't want her here. The cat is left pregnant. Obviously, with all the wild cats that there are here, obviously, the female cat, she said she eating a lot because she would eat. She can eat, but she got pregnant, a whole huge stomach. What do we do with her? She lived here, she would cross over, she'd go over there, she'd disappear for almost a whole day, and then she'd come meow, meow, meow. And she'd try to go to the back, but we had dogs. She would look at us from the top, since we had outside, we had Rooney. The Doberman wasn't here yet. Rooney, it's a medium dog, like this, kind of old, 14, 15 years old. Rooney, Mikal, and Sophie. Mikal and Sophie hate the cats. Because I had the bad idea since they were little. A cat would come here and I would say, cat, cat, cat. And Sophie and Mikal came out already. She's like, what's going on? Mikal should get in, wanted to eat them alive. Even almost broke the window one day. Because she see the cats and she would just foam at the mouth. She said, cat, 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 cat. She wants to bark. She'd go crazy, Mikal would. So then she had phobia against the cats. Didn't even know because the owner's cat trained her. Phobia against cats. So then how's she gonna get into the back? They're gonna fight and then take an eye out. You never know, these dogs are kind of stupid against the cat, who's very skillful. And as it turns out, she's left pregnant. And when the cat is left pregnant, Leslie and I said we can't leave her here in the street. Leslie put a little box. They used her 2-3 days and then didn't want to use it. It was below some bushes. What do you call bushes? Some bushes there with the neighbor. Leslie didn't like that, so then we opened the garage and she got into the garage, little by little. Another thing, she got it. A cat entered into our house. We opened the garage and Leslie says, "I'm gonna put a little cage. I have a cage like this. It was for the chickens that we have here, and ducks, because we have all kinds of animals here. And the chickens, when they were separated, when they were chicks and all the rest, so then we had a cage like this. We put a cage in the garage and we left the cat there, let her out, and then we'd lock her up because we were afraid that she would, give birth at any moment. And just as we thought, days later, that we locked her up, the cat gives birth, and we saw her live that day. In fact, I can't remember if Boca was playing or Argentina, one of the two. Yes. And then after the game, and she started to give birth and gave birth to 5 kittens. Precious little kittens, all normal. None of them died. All of them strong. 5 cats. 2 white ones. One kind of jaspered, and the other one's kind of dark. The other one, gray. And Angelina named all the cats. The gray one is called Unomi. The other one is called Matza. Matza is white. Matza. The other white one is Leo. One is like a tiger, it's Tigri. And the other one, it's kind of weird. Its face is kind of a weird face. It's called Ophelia. So then we have Ophelia, Tigri, Leo, Matza, and Poromi or Punomi. Kuromi. We named and everything. All the cats said, "Nah." Now we've got Michi
ahora tenemos
and
a Michi
5 more
y
cats.
5
Wow.
gatos más.
To
Wow.
all this,
A todo esto,
2 weeks passed by and the cats started to grow.
los gatos iban creciendo.
They were grown precisely on July 1st of this year, right? Am I wrong?
¿No?
July 1st
Primero de
at 7
a las
p.m.
7
Then
de la
precisely
tarde,
after a game that we were watching, the little cats start to
empiezan a
grow.
nacer los gatitos.
July 1st. The neighbors came and they called me and they said, "Hey, did you see Precious?"
¿Ustedes vieron
No.
a Precious? No,
I saw Michi.
a Michi. Yo.
Yeah. It's always that problem. Oh, yeah. The
Dice,
cat.
dice
You
el
have it?
gato,
Yes.
dice, ¿lo tienen ustedes?
As
Sí.
it was about to give birth, yeah, I have the
Ah,
cats
por
here.
la
Oh,
luz, sí, acá
can we
tengo
see
los
them?
gatitos. Ah, podemos ir
Yeah,
a
come see
verlos.
them.
Y dije, sí, vengan a
So
verlos.
then they all came.
Vinieron
The
todos,
whole tribe
la
from
manada
the front,
norteamericana
they came
a
to
ver
see
los
the
gatitos
kittens.
americanos.
I said, "Oh,
Y
Precious."
dice,
So they're
"Ay,
right there.
Precious." Entonces
I was just fucking around. I said, "Look,
estaba jodiendo, pero muy
his
serio,
name
le
is
dije,
not Precious.
"No se
It's
llama
not Precious.
It's
It's
not
my
Precious.
cat.
It's
It's my cat,
Ahora lo
and
adoptaron.
his
It's
name
my
is
cat,
Michi.
Y se llama Michi.
It's not Precious.
It's not
It's
Precious.
Michi."
It's
They looked at me.
Michi.
But to us, it's Precious.
Para nosotros es
I give a
Precious.
fuck what it is. The cat is mine.
El gato es
It's called
mío, se
Michi.
llama Michi.
And oh well.
Bueno,
They brought me food for
traje
cats,
comida
whatever.
para
I mean,
gatos,
blah, blah, blah.
bla, bla, bla.
Exactly, a gift.
Exacto.
They saw it and they left.
Lo vieron y se fueron.
And then it got too hot in the garage, so then we passed them over. Because we had to convince Leslie little by little first. Outside, then the garage, then there was no option because of the heat. There was we had a fan because of the heat. It was so great that we brought them over to the garden that we eat, right there where we eat. We put the cage right there. It was a little fresher. The cats go in and out right there. First into the hallway, then the garage, and now the 6 cats are in. And of course, now we have the cat in the house, and Michi and Sophie and Mikal and Rafa. No, not Rafa, right?
No, Rafa
No, Rafa is
está esperando.
Rooney. I meant it's Rooney. And then all of a sudden one day we put him in face to face. The first reaction was kind of weird. They said no. But we want to get them together, or else we could not. I can't live with people separated here. Either they all get along, or they can all fuck off. They can say this is this guy, this is that guy. Don't get them together, no. So then we got them together, and well, the first day that we got them together, precisely it was a Shabbat, and you were all here, and the cat escaped, and then it was all pretty normal, right? Until the cat came to ask for food and wanted to go up on the chair, and Sophie, that dog, there's no way to educate her, mind you. She went crazy because she wanted to go up on the chair, and she bites the paw. The cat goes out running, yelling all over the place, and amongst all of them, "Hey, Sophie," and was biting her tails and everything. So then we told Sophie, not, and the cat was every time she saw her. But then they become friends, tolerable friends, kind of different, but they tolerate each other. And now we've gotten to the point that they're all together. There's no problem. The other day, even Michi was on the chair, on the tail of Rooney. I don't know if the picture got there, but Mika and Sophie get together sometimes, and they kind of kiss their snouts. So I don't know if they're smelling each other, but they touch snouts like that. Incredible, the way they got used to cats. Now the Doberman wants to play with the cat. He's an idiot, so he's a brute. So we're teaching him. He's pretty much of a brute, and he's a pup to top it off. So he still doesn't have that character of not playing. He wants to play with the cat and was gonna put the paw on top. The cat is like that. So then we are training them. We're training them. Very well. So I told this whole story just to tell this. All of a sudden, the cat that I would feed in the garden at night, in the morning, she eats a lot in the mornings and then at noon, all the time. She would ask me and I would give it. All of a sudden, the cat didn't want to eat anymore. And I would say, "Did you feed the cat, Leslie?" "No. I fed it and didn't want to eat." I said, "What's going on with this cat? Is it sick or what?" And I would feed it, and I would say, it would just turn. I don't want this food anymore. I was like, how strange. All of a sudden, I see that she would disappear. She would go to the backyard, because to top it off, I trained her to use the dogs. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's got those little doors for pets. They can freely go outside and come back in. It's got a little plastic, and to top it off, they push it like this with the paw. It opens up, and then it opens and closes on itself. It's like a little curtain that it has. And the cat would look, didn't want to go through there. I started to train her. I would push it like that because they're pretty hard to learn. The cats are next to the dogs, but little by little, she learned to use it. And sometimes she would hit the door. She saw that it would open, but they would close it, and she would just stare there. And so I was like, no, this doesn't work. Until one day she started to hit it. She would stick her head in a little bit, and until now she uses it perfectly well. It was rather comical. The cat started to disappear 2 hours, 3 hours, and I was like looking, Michi, back at the top, Michi, nothing. And then all of a sudden, Michi, I see her coming from the house of the neighbor. And so like, oh, look at that. And that's where it all went to the head. And that's where I got upset. That's where I got upset, just like a wife could get upset. Answering this question, by the way. That's where I got upset, and I said, don't tell me that they're feeding my cat across the street, because it's my cat. And now, these sons of bitches, my neighbors, if they mess with me, I am a lion. The lion comes out. I'm a lion. Just like when they mess with things with you, I am a lion and protector. I say, these are feeding. That's why I was such a protector when someone wanted to feed them another food, because that was kind of like Caminos Kadosh, for example. It was feeding dog shit. I'm very much of a protector. They're feeding my cat? It was my cat already. It was my cat already. My cat? I can't believe it. That they're so out of place. And of course, I started to make a whole... That's why it doesn't want to eat here. These sons of bitches are feeding even a better food than the one that I give. Because when I buy dry food, I'm not going to be opening a little envelope. It's so expensive. And if they don't need it, I have to keep it in the fridge so that it doesn't go bad. No. Dry food or nothing. But of course, they are feeding something else to the cat, and the cat is leaving. And I started to, I'm going to go across. They're going to have to hear me. And Brian's like, no. Like, oh, no, and me. And Brian's like, no, don't go. No, I know you, don't go. I was like, why am I not going to? No, they're going to hear me. No. I'll go. I have a better use of English, you know what I'm saying? I have a bit of grace. You know, when you get upset, that'll be a disaster. I'll go, Brian says. I said, okay, you go, but you're going to tell them all these things. You're going to tell them that if they didn't want it, they should not feed it anymore, because it's not their cat. If they want to feed it, then I'll take the cat today there, and they can adopt it, and I don't ever want to see him here. And when I see it, I'm going to kick it, that it goes straight back to their house. But as long as it's my cat, then no one feeds my cat except me. Or else I'll bring the cat today. You're going to tell them all that. Third point, you're going to tell them, how the fuck did they dare to feed my cat, which is Michi? It's not Precious. Go feed your own fucking cats, not mine. That's not ethical. What else I said you had to say? Just that, okay. And I didn't want my cat to cross the street because it was feeding the babies. It was still breastfeeding the little kittens, and then she would cross over. And I mean, how was I gonna feed the little kittens if they didn't eat anything, nothing but milk? I said no. So then tell them that if they see her, to shoo her. So then Brian went, and he faced them. The problem wasn't Philip. The problem was the brother of the wife. What's his name? Benny. Mr. Benny. The name of a rabbit. Some tall guy. Mr. Benny. Mr. Benny. When Brian went to go say, he got upset. right away. Yeah,
Puede
didn't
ser
it?
una reacción de ustedes también.
It could be your reaction. I'm speaking to the mother's
Una
reaction
de una vez,
right away.
porque
Because Brian,
¿qué le-
what did you
qué le
say?
intenta decir?
I said, hey, Benny, are you feeding the cat? Yes, he says, yes, I am. I said, well, the cat's not no longer here, so then don't feed it anymore. Since it's over there with the kittens, and he got upset and he struck the table and says, okay, then I won't feed it anymore. I said, hey, hold on, calm down. I said,
¿Están escuchando
are
lo que
you
estoy-
listening,
están
Brian's story?
escuchando? No, pero están
No, but can
escuchando
you
lo que
hear
están-
Brian's voice?
Entonces,
Go ahead. We struck the table. I won't feed it anymore. I'm not gonna fight it. I said, okay, fine. Hey, calm down. And then somebody back there told me, hey, calm down, calm down. Yeah. I said, hey, I came here to bring peace. Okay, peace. I want you to understand me. Don't feed the cat anymore. If you feed it still, my dad will come. And just imagine, you don't want that. Okay? Okay, Benny? So then just calm down, Benny. And he said, okay. Because I don't want your dad to come talk to me. And then I'll get upset. You're not going to get upset. You don't want that. You don't want that. Just don't feed it and we're okay, okay? He said, okay. But also, we give you vegetables from our garden. I said, hold on, sir. Remember, we bought your trash cans. To top it off, we paid for that little accident you had. So then don't come at me with that. He was like, and then he just shut up right there. He was just stuttering. Okay, okay, okay. When Michi comes, I'll show her. I'll kick her from here. I said, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, we're still friends, okay? Just calm down, calm down. Okay. Yeah, but don't let your dad come. Okay, okay, that's it. Just don't feed it anymore.
que no venga
Don't
tu
let your
padre.
dad come.
Le habló muy bien
He
Brian,
spoke to
la
him
verdad,
very
la
well.
verdad
Tell
que
truth,
le habló
spoke to him
mucho mejor de lo
a
que
lot
yo
better
hice.
than I would have done.
Yo estaba
Because I was actually upset.
así
Just
enojado.
like that, upset.
Esa reacción
That
de-
reaction of the cat.
él se enojó
He
tanto
got so upset
que
because
le
Brian
puso
wanted
que
to
no
tell
le
him to
dio
not
de
feed it
comer,
anymore,
que es la
which is
reacción
the
típica
typical reaction
de la
of the
madre
mother
con un hijo.
with a son.
Toda esta
This
historia
whole
que
story
les
that I've
conté
told you
se transfiere
is transferred directly
en los seres
into human beings.
Una madre,
A mother,
que en el caso
which
estaba
in that case
representada
was
por
represented by Benny,
le gusta dar de
likes
comer
to
porque
feed
fue la
because
que
is the
dio
one that
origen
fed
o
and
parte,
gave him origin, to,
origen
aside
a
from
la
the
vida
point,
del hijo,
origin
y
to
lo
the life of the son,
alimentó
and
su
fed
propio
him with her own
cuerpo
body,
dándole leche.
feeding him
Eso
milk.
queda en el
That is
cerebro
left
de la
in the
madre
brain of the
y del
mother
niño.
and of the child.
Queda
It is
grabado
left there
que
recorded
la fuente
that
de
the
comida
fountain
es su mamá,
of food is her mother,
que él
that he
chupa
sucks
la
the
leche de
milk
su mamá.
from his mother.
Su mamá
His
lo
mother
alimenta.
feeds him.
Eso queda
That
grabado ahí en
is
la mente.
recorded in
Y
everyone's
si
mind.
eso,
And if that,
cuando uno
when
crece,
one grows up and
no
matures,
cortas
you
la
don't cut
relación,
off that
esa relación
relation.
sigue.
That relation continues. It continues.
Es tan así
It's so much
que
the fact
casi
that
todo
almost
cáncer
every
de mama
breast cancer responds to this problem.
que si
That
la
if
madre
the mother were
superara
to
eso,
surpass
que ella
that,
no es
that
la
she's
que
not the
tiene que
one that
darle
has to
comer,
feed him.
en este caso
In
su
this
hijo,
case, her
puede ser su
son could be
esposo,
her
puede
husband,
ser
it could be
algo más,
something else.
no se desarrollaría el
That
cáncer de pecho.
breast cancer would not be
Cáncer de pecho
developed. Breast
responde
cancer
a que
responds
la
to
madre
the mother
siente la
feeling the
necesidad de
necessity
alimentar.
of feeding. And
No
since
puede
she
producir
cannot
leche,
produce milk,
el
the
cuerpo
body starts to
aumentar
augment
todo lo que
everything
forma
that forms
el
the
órgano
organ
de la
of the
mama,
breast
todas las glándulas
gland.
mamarias
They
empiezan
start
a
to
multiplicarse
multiply
para poder
themselves to
producir
be able to
una leche
produce
simbólica,
a symbolic milk.
una leche simbólica,
A symbolic
porque
milk,
en su
because in
mente
their
ella
mind,
todavía
she
tiene
still has
que alimentar a su
to
hijo.
feed her son.
Puede ser su hija,
Could be her
puede
daughter,
ser su esposo, puede
her
ser un
husband,
animal que
an
puede comer,
animal
puede
that
ser muchas
she sees as a son. Could be many
Pero
things.
la
But
esencia
the
del
essence
cáncer
of the
de mama es
breast cancer is that.
es absolutamente
It is absolutely that, nothing else. Just like that, and nothing else other than that. So then,
cuando
when
no sabemos
we don't
cortar
know how to cut off
cosas
certain things in this life,
producen
they produce
situaciones
situations that are
En el
lethal like
niño
this one. In the child,
es exactamente al
it's
revés.
exactly
Necesita
the other way.
que su mamá lo alimente.
She needs to be fed
A
by
veces eso se transfiere
his mom, it's transferred into alcohol sometimes, and other times it's transferred into other attitudes. Like my mother's right, I listen to my mother's advice, and in many cases that I've seen, but I mean innumerable cases, that oh, my mom cooks a lot better than the woman that I'm married with. Could be the mother, could be the sister, it could be someone from his family, it could be whatever. But what he was used to, it turns out pleasant because it depends from that. So then, what do we do to cut off that? When a person matures and is married, you've got the word lech lecha in Hebrew, which means and ye shall leave. That is why Yahweh said through Adam, and the man shall leave his mother and father, and shall be one with his woman, and they shall be one. The man shall leave his father and mother. That phrase that says to leave is to cut off all types of dependencies. Absolutely. Completely. It is to cut off, almost, if it's necessary, dialogue. In order for Abraham to learn something and serve Yahweh, somehow made him leave the father, his mother, his entire family, his land, his cities, his friends, everything. He pulled them entirely away from there and put them in a land that he didn't even know, that we all know. There is the psychological part that we have to learn from this. I've taken that experience. I went through that because we were married, Leslie and I, after 2 and 3 years of living in Argentina. We came here, but we had already left everything. So then, in this question that they ask me, that her husband goes to eat at his mother's house, I speak to both of you, the mother, the husband, or the wife, or whomever. This goes for everyone. A mother has to learn that her function as a mother ends when her son grows up. It ends. It ends. Her function ends. It ends. If she wants to extend it for more time, she causes a great big harm in herself and in the son or daughter. A father, the same thing. His function as a father to feed ends when his sons grow up. That he can help them, there's no written law that this isn't the fact, but a son or daughter cannot depend on her parents, nor can her parents depend emotionally from their children. If someone, a young man that is married, goes to his mother's house to eat, he's showing, first of all, ignorance of what I'm saying, and that's why I'm here. Because I consider that we're all ignorant. We're all ignorant. We have to learn good customs. So then, what I am teaching are codes. When a couple gets married, I'm not talking about the single people, because, obviously they have all the freedom to eat with whomever they want. But once a man and a woman are joined together, they have to cut off that whole link to their parents. If the son loves the food of the mother, all he can aspire is to take his wife in a very good attitude, and for the mother to accept, and for her to teach her to cook, but not to expect or enjoy the food of his mother anymore. The Latin mothers, and I'm speaking to all of them because it happens to all of them, it gives them a lot of pleasure to cook for their son. A lot of pleasure. There are some that cook well, others that cook give or take, and others that directly, forgetfully. There is got to be a talent in cooking that you can learn to a certain degree, but it is something that you come with. It's like a talent, whether you're good or not, but it can get better, yes. There is hope for you. if you don't cook well, there is hope.
Pero
But
cuando uno se casa,
when one gets married, there are certain codes
yo te lo estoy
that I'm
enseñando.
teaching you now.
A mí me lo enseñaron de chico.
I got taught this to me when I was little, and
Como entendían.
I started to understand them little by little, but now I'm teaching them to you, all of you.
Cuando una pareja
When
se
a
casa,
couple gets married,
o van los dos a comer,
they
que
either
están de
all
acuerdo porque
go
los padres los
together
invitaron,
to
está
eat
todo
together
bien,
because they were invited, that's all fine,
pero nunca solo.
but never alone.
Hay situaciones
There are
que uno
situations
puede
where
arreglar,
precisely he went to go
algo en
fix
casa de la
something
madre,
into mother's
uno
house because the
arregla
son
cosas, y
fixes
otra vez
things, and the mother
un
says,
sanguchito,
I'll give you a little sandwich. Okay, fine, as an exception,
pero una comida especial
But a
para
special
él,
food for him, no.
ya no le pertenece el hijo a la
The
madre,
son
le
does not
pertenece
belong
al
to the
papá.
mother, it belongs to another woman.
Y la mujer tiene todo el
The
derecho
woman
de
has
hacer
all the right
un escándalo,
to
un infierno a él
make
y a la
hell
vieja bruja.
towards him and the old
¿Sabe
witch of the
cómo se dice?
mother-in-law.
Porque
You know
acá
how
traigo
you say, because
sabiduría
here I bring wisdom,
árabe.
Muslim wisdom, by the
¿Sabe
way.
cómo se dice
You know how you say
suegra en árabe?
mother-in-law in Arabic?
¿Alguien sabe?
Does someone know?
Depende de la versión.
Depending on the version, I have two different accents. I'll give you the Argentinian one. How do you say mother-in-law? Don't ever forget this. It's a wisdom that is superior to Arabic. How do you say mother-in-law? It's alejala. Alejala, which in Spanish it's get her away. Another accent is alejala. Alejala. It's like push her away. Did you understand it, or do I need to explain it? It's like push her away. Push her away. Keep her afar. Keep her afar. Keep the parents away. That is why they got together. That your parents can have more wisdom. There's no discussion that your mother cooks a lot better. I'm not gonna argue about that, but you already cut that off and you made a new company. If you want that company to work, you have to do everything, all the rules and the codes perfectly well, or else it won't work. Or else it won't work. And the mother, I'm speaking to the mothers, you have to understand that if you don't want to develop a tumor, breast tumor, then you have to learn to cut off and say, I'm not going to feed this guy anymore. Almost that if I seen you, I can't remember you. Sometimes you have to be extreme. I like to go to the extreme to later find a middle point. I hate from one position into advance a little bit. That is people that are too lukewarm. That is why when I've told you that God was Satan, of course a guy like me will make it look that the brain will shock you. Like Satan is in my heart. I worship Satan. So then people say, was it necessary to say it like that? Because there's one thing to understand that Satan does not exist. Is it necessary to say, I love Satan? Yes, it is. Because you have to break away the barrier from the mind so that you can start to view. So I go to the contrary extreme. Was it necessary to take Paul out because he would say a whole bunch of stupid shit? It was necessary to call him the lying apostle. Imagine, it was necessary. It was radically necessary so that later that we took him out to say, well, let's bring him back to a middle point, tell the truth. Now we can appreciate him in a different way, but it's necessary. The extremes are necessary to find the middle. The thesis, the antithesis, and the syntaxis. The synthesis. That is real. That is real. I had to go back into the Torah. We are Toraic. And we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And of course, you start to say, do we have to circumcise ourselves? Everyone will say, yes. They were already getting ready the knife, because you have to look into the extreme. And then said, no, this, fuck this, to hell. That's the way it is in order to find a balance. You have to explore the limits. You cannot always stay in the middle because you don't know anything. I go for the sure path. I never go there or there. And because they tell me stories from here, from there, you're just an idiot. You never learned a thing. Go to the extreme And then if you bounce off of there, if you survive, then you'll be a guy that's a lot smarter than if you just stay in the safe path. Oh, this is bad, don't do it.
Hay que
No, you have to
explorar
explore the limits.
los límites.
The limits.
Así estudio las escrituras.
That's how I study the scriptures. That's how I study
Y
them.
así saco las
And that's why I
conclusiones
get,
que ustedes
get
todos conocen.
into the conclusions that you already know. So then,
Volviendo a lo que estaba
going
diciendo,
back to what I was saying,
en esta pregunta,
in this question,
si en esta pregunta
if in this question
la pareja
the
o uno
couple is listening to me or one of the two,
y va para todos los
and this goes for all of them,
una madre
a mother
no debe cocinar
should
a su
not
hijo casado,
cook for her married son ever,
excepto que vaya a la
except if the whole couple goes.
que digan, "Hoy
They
vamos
said,
a la
hey,
casa
we're
de
going to
mi
go to
padre,
my parents' house and we have fun, and they all have fun together.
y no hay competencia
And there's
diciendo,
no
"Yo
competition saying,
cocino
I
mejor que
cook
vos".
better
No,
than
si
you.
la
No,
madre,
the mother,
aléjala,
the alejala, like keep her away, keep her far.
está todo bien eso. Yo no estoy
That's all fine. I'm not in a position of that.
pero tiene que haber
But there has
muy
to
buena
be
onda.
a very good
Una
attitude.
mujer
A
latina,
woman, Latin woman,
y lo he visto
and I've
muchas
seen it
veces,
in many times,
en los trabajos,
at work,
todo tipo de
all
cosas.
kinds of things.
La mujer
The
latina
Latin woman
siempre,
always,
quiero decir,
and I want to say this very softly, because I could make people feel, almost all of you,
sin proponerse,
Without
quiero que lo entiendan esto, sin
trying to,
proponerse,
without trying to,
porque no saben lo que hacen.
because
Padre,
you don't know what you do.
porque no saben
Father,
lo que hacen.
forgive them, for they know not what they do.
Hay algo adentro
There's something within
que no lo razona,
that they cannot reason,
pero le hacen comida
but they make food
a un hombre.
to a man.
Eso se llama seducción.
That is called seduction.
Es una seducción interna.
It is an internal seduction because they want
Esa mujer,
that woman,
casada o soltera,
married or single,
que un hombre
for a man,
sea casado o soltero,
married
coma
or single, to eat
de ella
from her.
también.
Also,
Es muy peligroso.
it is very dangerous.
Una mujer
A woman
no debe
should
cocinar a
not
un hombre,
cook for a
excepto
man,
que le
except
cocine, si quiere,
if she cooks,
pero
if you
a
want,
todos,
to
a
everyone, to the entire couple,
un grupo.
a group.
Vamos a poner un
Let's
ejemplo.
give an
Viene
example that,
fulanita
let's say,
y le dice,
whomever comes,
vamos a poner un ejemplo
let's give an
argentino,
Argentinian
Pone
example.
fulanita.
Let's say Fulanita, call her Fulanita.
y fulanita
Fulanita comes
tiene un grupo de
and
amigos,
she
muy
has
amigo, y
some
tiene
friends
al
and she
señor
has Mr. Juan
y la
and
señora,
Mrs.
no sé,
I don't know,
Rosa.
Rosa.
Entonces,
So
viene
then,
esta fulanita y le
This
dice,
Fulanita comes and
"Juan,
says, Juan,
el otro día me dijiste que te
you
encantó
told
mis
me that you
empanadas
love my
argentinas.
Argentinian
Acá tienes una
empanadas.
fuente para vos, Juan".
I made some for you right here. That
Y ir y darle un beso,
to
más
go
o menos.
and kiss him is the same thing, pretty
Es
much.
una o
It's a,
mostrarle
or to
algo.
show him something from her body. It's a seduction.
La mujer,
The woman,
una de las mayores
one
armas
of the
para
greatest
seducir a un hombre.
weapons that she has to seduce a man is food, or else in the story I can find a whole bunch
De ejemplo,
of examples.
cómo
How
se ganó
did
la herencia a Jacob
Jacob earn his inheritance?
por un plato de lentejas.
With a lentil
La
soup.
comida,
The
la
food
comida
is
una fuente de
a
atracción.
fountain
¿Cuántas
of
parejas
attraction. How many
son? Puede
couples
decir, "Esta me
you
ganó
can say
porque
she won me over because wow,
cocinaba re bien
she cooked so well.
y me llenó el corazón,
She
la
filled
panza".
my heart and my
¿Por qué? Porque
stomach and everything.
en la
Why?
comida
Because in the food
hay un aspecto sexual
there is a sexual aspect also.
implícito.
It
Usted
is
no lo ve,
implicit.
implícito.
You don't see it, but it's implicit.
Por eso yo que los
Because
enseño
that's why
a ustedes
I who
a
teach
salir
you to
de
go
su
out
puta cultura
of your fucking culture.
cultural,
I want to speak
salir
civilly, to
de
come
su
out
cultura.
of your culture.
no aprendan de sus
Don't learn
madres.
from your mothers.
Sus madres
Your
no
mothers
los tienen que alimentar,
should not feed you.
pegarle una patada en el
You have
culo
to
a su
kick
madre.
your mother in the
Una que se
ass
casan,
once you get married.
una que se casan.
Once you get
No
married,
tener influencia,
to not have
no
any
dejar que una
influence,
mujer
to not
traiga
allow
un
for a
plato de
woman to
comida,
bring
no dejar que una
a
mujer
plate of food,
cualquiera
not
te
to
traiga una
allow
tortilla
any
para ti.
woman to say, hey,
No.
this is for you. No.
Si lo hace para la pareja,
If she does it for the couple, that's
pero
perfect.
para ti,
But to say, this is for you, only for you?
ya,
Right
es que
there,
ustedes no
you
entienden
don't
la
understand the
psicología de la
psychology of
seducción.
seduction.
Ni siquiera la mujer
Not
se da
even the
cuenta,
woman
¿eh?
notices,
Lo ve
mind you.
como
They
cultural,
see it
que
as
está
a
bien.
culture that,
No,
oh,
no
that's
está
fine.
bien.
No, it's not fine.
No está bien.
It's not
Esa es
fine.
tu tía.
Even if it's your aunt,
Aunque sea tu hermana.
even if it's your sister,
Aunque sea tu hermana.
even if it's your sister.
Obviamente.
Obviously,
Obviamente,
to
comer con el
eat
sexo,
with sex,
exactamente,
exactly,
está
It is implied. And I am teaching this to you so that you learn the mother cannot, in the case that I'm reading, she cannot disattach her, even sexually, from her son. Because there was a relation. I'm not going to say what Freud says because you should already know this, what Freud says. Of course. Exactly. The son of the mother comes through her sex. The first sexual organ that he knows is his mother's. And then later he sucks on her tits for years. And if they were to let him, he wants to sleep next to her mom and kick her father out because he's the son. And I teach you to separate them quickly. No, you want to keep him there. Keep him there. You want to keep him there. And you want to keep him there till he's 12 years old. But it's a sexual aspect that you don't notice. There is a sexual union between mother and son. And there isn't, and between the father and the son, such a thing does not exist. Because the father, he placed the seed in the mother, and both the sons and the men and women, they suck, and they come out from the mother. And they eat the mother, not the father. The father is always like an outsider. He's from outside. But the mother, they eat the mother. It's an effect, and I explain it to you. There's no such thing as my dear son. No, that's it. Start to cut it off. We're in separate individuals. It will hurt you because you don't understand it. You don't understand it. That's why there's this question. That's why some idiot, a young man, a young man comes and he goes to eat in his mother's house. If you're listening to me, you're a fucking idiot. Don't you notice that you are not respecting your wife? You're not going to eat at your mother's house. Not just that. Now you have to say, hey, mom, I'm married now. I'm married now. Shove your food up your ass if you want. If you want, then invite me and my wife. But don't make it just for me. Because I already left. I'm no longer with a link to you. That's why it hurts so much to you when your mother dies. You cry. You cry. I'm hoping my mother to die already. Obviously, she lost interest, as Leslie states. If I were the wife of that man, I'd kick his ass right in his asshole. And for him to fly to Philip's house. And then I'll tell to Alejala to keep her far. I'll say, hey, don't feed your son anymore. Because you feed him one more time, I'll send him back. And I don't ever want to see him in my fucking life, ever. Did you understand that well? But of course, if the wife does that, the mother, not educated because you're not educated, will say, what a fucking bitch, who the fuck are you? How is she going to tell me? Why is she not respecting me? That's what the mother would say. I'm inside of the mother. Because this world, there's no education in this world. That's what happens. There's no education. So then the daughter-in-law, they're capable to fight her, and I don't want to see that fucking bitch here that you married. I don't want to see her here anymore. Because she is so ungrateful. She won't take my son. Oh, my son. No, lady, absolutely not. So then they have somebody with authority like me. You have to grab the lady and slap her in the face. And you're an idiot. First of all, you received lies from your parents. You don't know dog shit. You're a fucking stupid idiot. You should never fed your son because it started with you. It started with you that you want to be the mother. You are competing with the other mother, the other woman that is trying to feed him, but you get into the middle and you want to feed him to see who's more important in his life, to see who makes the food more delicious. Oh, because I make things more delicious. Because they want to win over the affection and the love. It is sex. It's all sex. And not in the sense of reproduction. Sex in the sense of pleasure of the mother of feeding.
al otro hombre y si puede
feeding the other
quitar
man,
al
if they
otro
can feed
también.
the other one also.
Obviamente,
Obviously,
si compite con otra
if
y
they
el
compete with
pobre
another one that
comida
says, "Oh, your
espectacular,
food is
wow,
spectacular,"
tanto
oh wow,
comer, llegó un orgasmo.
the woman got into
Es
an
un
orgasm.
orgasmo,
She got
obviamente
into
psicológico,
psychological,
pero dice,
obviously.
wow.
It's just wow. See, I cook better than that
Porque en la
chick.
comida está expresado
Because in
todo.
the food, everything is
Es
expressed.
nuestra necesidad
It is
primordial,
our
la comida.
primordial necessity. Primordial.
Entonces,
So then,
cuando nos peleamos
when
por
we
quién la
fight with
suministra,
who provides it,
buscamos o
we
cometemos
make
todas
mistakes and we make
cosas.
all kinds of horrors. So then I'm speaking to the mothers of the eternal
Que
truth
algún día van a educar
that one day they will
al
educate
mundo entero,
the entire
y a
world
todos los muertos
and
que van a
all
quedar
the
por
dead
venir.
people that are going to resurrect for 1,000 years.
Pareja, cuando se casan,
The couples, when they get married, they
ese vínculo
break
ya no existe,
that link, which no longer exists. It no longer exists.
porque los padres
Because the parents,
siguen siendo los
they
padres,
continue to be the
pero tienen
parents,
que
but they
ubicarse
have
en
to
el
find their place with the
por
code.
más que la madre
Even
cocine
if the
mejor,
mother cooks
no
better,
importa.
doesn't
Que el
matter.
chico aprenda
Let the
y
boy
enseñe
learn
y haga
and
lo
to
posible
teach her
para que
and
la
to do
madre,
everything
para que
possible
su
so that the
esposa
mother, so that his
sea
wife
excelente
be an
cocinera
excellent
para él
cook
y para
for
sus
him
hijos,
and for
hasta
their
que sus
children
hijos se
until their
casen y
children get
tengan
married and all the
hijos.
rest.
Entonces,
So then,
hay que romper
you have to
ese
break
orgullo
away
de
with
mujer.
that pride of a woman and son. You have to break it. Break it, just like my neighbor.
Mi vecino se enojó
My neighbor got upset
porque le saqué
because I took
el
away
placer
the
de
pleasure
darle
of
la
giving
comida a mi gato.
food to my cat. The guy even struck the table because he felt
Herido en su
hurt
orgullo.
in his pride.
Él,
He,
pensando que estaba haciendo una
thinking that
acción
he
de
was
bien,
doing something good,
no estaba haciendo una acción de bien
he was
para
not doing something good by feeding my cat.
estaba haciendo
It was
una
doing something,
acción
a
mala.
bad action. That is why our minds, sometimes we think that it's a good action,
Y estamos totalmente
and we're
equivocados. Es
completely
una
wrong. It is
mala
a
acción.
bad action.
Si viniera el perro de
If
alguien,
someone's
por ejemplo,
dog would
que
come, for
viene
example,
un German
that has
Shepherd,
a German Shepherd,
podríamos decir que German Shepherd
is it a German Shepherd?
es un Australian
An
Carol,
Australian Carol dog.
es un Shepherd
It's a shepherd, an Australian Shepherd.
ovejero australiano, podría decir.
An Australian Shepherd, we could call it in Spanish.
Que él viviera cerca acá, ¿no?
Let's suppose that he would live close by, and then the dog comes and I grab the dog. Oh, come, this dog, come on in, the dog, right?
Y le doy
And I
agua, le
feed
doy
him, give him
comida.
water and food.
El perro
And
cada
the
vez que
dog,
se
every
escapa,
time he
ven acá.
escapes, he'll come here
Reviene el perrito.
because I treat him so
Yo
well.
digo, qué buena
And I say, what a
acción
good
que estoy
action
haciendo.
that I'm
No,
doing.
es
No,
una acción de malicia.
it's
Yo tengo que
a
agarrar el
malice dog. I have to grab the
perro, dar
dog,
una patada en el culo
either
al perro,
kick him in the
o
ass,
agarrar al perro,
or grab the dog,
primero
first,
una sopapeada,
kick him a
para que
bit
aprenda.
so that he
Si
learns,
lo lleva a Ale, digo,
and then
"Tomá
send him to Ale
tu
and say,
perro,
take your
que no
dog
se escape".
and don't let it out.
Exacto,
Don't let it escape. It
Y
escaped.
me vino a pedir
And
comida
he
y
came to ask
dije,
me
"No,
for food, and I
dile a
said,
tu
no,
dueño".
ask your
¿Por qué razón es eso?
owner. Why?
Porque le estoy haciendo un bien a
Because
Ale,
I am doing
estoy
something
haciendo
good
un
for
bien al
Ale
perro, y me estoy haciendo un
and
bien a
also
mí.
for the
Porque
dog and for myself,
yo
because
no
I
puedo
cannot
hacer obras de
do acts of
beneficencia
beneficial
a personas
acts to
que
people
le estoy robando
that I am stealing
justamente
precisely
el honor
the
de
honor
hacer esa
of doing that
beneficencia. No puedo,
beneficial act. I cannot.
no debo.
I should not.
Entonces, yo
So
como
then,
padre,
as a
no debo
father,
alimentar a
I
mi
should
hijo
not
o a
feed
mi
my
hija
son or daughter
escapada de su casa,
that she ran away from her home. I cannot. As a brother, I also cannot.
a menos que
Unless, as I've explained, situations that they all come, or vacations, so that's something else. But we're talking about something continuous. You understand, right? I'm talking about something that is repeated. No. As a human person, if you get married, you are one with another person. That's it, it's over. And the relation is cut off. That's it, it's over. So then, that is why my neighbor got so upset, because he's an ignorant fool. You have to hit him over the head and tell him, you know, with a newspaper, and tell him, you stupid idiot, I told you if you do want the cat, you didn't want the cat, then when you see the cat, then all I ask you is for you to bring him over, or hit him, or mistreat him so that he doesn't go over there. I don't want you to give caring or love to my cat. That is why I'm here. Do you understand that? We have situations, and I've seen many, in which a mistake over another, the children get married, they don't have any place to live, and first mistake, to get married, not have anywhere to live, and they go and live in a little room in the back of the house of their parents. And when they have children, and they start to grow, they see the grandmother's food. I want to eat the grandmother's food. And the grandmother's food, and the mother's cooking. They said, no, I already ate grandmother's food because the grandmother fed the grandchildren. So then the mother, let's suppose, in their mind is making something, healthier, and the grandmother did whatever, and the child already ate, and they're right. The mother has the right to complain, but you have to go back to where it all started. To live with your parents, that's where it all started. Your grandmother, if she wants to, she's going to feed him, not just feed him, she's going to teach him. She's going to upbring him incorrectly. Exactly. She wants to steal their love. One of my favorite stories in the Bible, favorite stories, you could not even imagine which one it is. You can't even imagine the interpretation I'm about to give you. You've never heard it, ever. It's never been given anywhere, ever, ever. And also, I'm going to ask you to give us a like if you want to know this story that I'm going to tell. If you want. Let's see. If you're not bored, today we're going to celebrate Heidi's birthday. We ordered already pollo campero, which is an exquisite chicken, better than the fried chicken that I tried anywhere. It's in El Salvador or Guatemala. Where is it from? It was in Guatemala. So then it has a very good taste, and it's better than the ones here. We're going to eat pollo campero. Well, either that one or the asado one. We have the barbecue one. Oh, the fried one is the maximum fried chicken. Okay, with how many likes do we have? We have 237 likes. Wow, we don't even get to 300. What a disaster. Well, at least the 229 listening, which are more because sometimes one account is listening and there's a whole family there. It would give me lots of pleasure that you learned the lesson of today. There are more likes. Okay. If you forgot to give us a like, then now it is the time to give us a like. But I am here to teach you, and it'll take its time. And remember what I've taught. 1,000 years it'll take. 1,000 years it'll take to teach those who are alive. Imagine how much time it won't take when we resurrect the rest. Oh, mamma mia! I mean, don't even think about it. But of course, the entire society is 1,000 years mistrained. So then you're hard-headed. I understand, and it is within the norm. But I'm teaching you today that to break away that relation of mother-son, and the man shall leave his father and mother, and shall join his wife and become one. You know, which is one of my favorite stories, and with an explanation that you've never ever seen before. Do you care? Okay, I'm going to tell it to you. I'm not going to read it. It is the story of the prodigal son. What does the prodigal son story want to teach us? All of you know this story by memory. There's a father who has a lot of money with two sons, one older, one younger. Alive, the son, the younger one, asked the father to give him his inheritance. The father gives it to him, and he goes and spends it with friends and women and everything. And when he least expects it, he is eating with the pigs. So then, once again, he thinks about his father, thinks that whomever of the servants or slaves lives a lot better than him. So then he says, I should go back to my father's house and ask him to forgive me. And I'll say that to treat me at least like a servant. So then he goes back, tells the father, Father, forgive me. Treat me like one of your servants. But the father says, no, you're my son. Since you're back, because the father would go and wait for him, since you're back, he says, I'm going to make a great feast. And I'm going to kill the fattest calf. And give you a ring and gives him the best clothes. And then the other guy, the older one that was always there, got jealous. Is like, I've never left. You don't give me the fattest calf. I mean, am I telling the story correctly? What is the meaning of that story? What is what Yahweh wants to teach me? Actually, I could care less what he wants to teach me at a superficial level. I see it from a different point of view. If I were one of the two, I would always prefer to be, and always, the prodigal son, to fuck off. And where does the story fail? What do I learn from that story? that there's only one mistake: to not spend the money correctly. It was always going to be under his father, doing what his father would say, like the stupid idiot, his brother. They said, no, give me what is mine. I no longer want to live here. I could care less about your ideas, about your way of making money. If it's with cattle, it's all fine. But I no longer want to be here. That the prodigal son did act well. He did act well by leaving, and I did the same thing, and I would do it once, and 1,000 times over. I got married at 21 years old. As soon as I was 21, I fucked off, and I told my person, I don't have money to get married or for the wedding, but I have my girlfriend, and I'm crazily in love with her, and either you marry me by the church and with cake and everything, I'll just fuck off and I'll go and live with her. I have no problem with that. It's decided already. It's already decided. And knowing myself, and they knowing me, they said, no, hold on, when do you want to get married? In February. They said, okay, I'll make you the everything, but don't just live together like that. It'll be the ridicule of me. It was 21 years. Some of you have gotten married younger than me. That doesn't mean that you were successful. It doesn't mean I got married at 21, and we have 33 years together. You've seen my wife last Shabbat. We were both radiant. We love each other. And it's 33 years married. Phenomenal years. There has to be a secret in all this. Yes, there is a secret. There's a code. Codes as the ones that I've taught you. When I got married, I didn't ever eat anything from my mom. Never even went to visit her. Also, I didn't tell her to come and visit me either. No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And also, I cut off with the relationship. There's codes. The codes they have to do, but it is difficult because of your culture. You think it's wrong. There are codes. Absolutely, there are codes. Once you get married, it is broken away. It's as if you're divided. You're divided, and that's it. And Leslie, the same thing as me. And she liked. No, obviously she. Nothing, right? I could care less about anything of the food. I wanted Leslie's food. Those are the things that got us even more closer together. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. And how ugly it would be for Leslie to be correcting me. Oh, you went to your mom's house again? No, it's just she made milanesa for me. They're so good. Wow, I'll make them too. But yours are not as good as my mom's. Oh, that's so ugly that she has to be correcting me. The woman loses love and says, what a fucking idiot that I marry. He still needs his mom. What a fucking idiot. That doesn't... Oh, I mean, of course, I teach you. I know you're that type of idiots, but if you learn, you're no longer that idiot. You're no longer that idiot. And the mothers, I don't want you to have cancer. I want you to be free from your children. Are you grown? Leave them. Just put them in a package into the new woman. Don't start to think like all the Latin women think. Oh, that girl doesn't know how to cook. No, give them away. Here's the package. Here you go. Take charge. I don't want to know anything about him. If your son calls you, you say, hey, don't call me. I'm not your wife. Call your wife. If you have a problem, your mother. Once a month, if I'm okay, but not even that. The mother, she has to cut away. And it comes from the son has to say, hey, mom, don't be calling me. I'm married already. I got married. I don't want to see you anymore. And I hope it doesn't affect you, because if it affects you, you're going to have a cancer. So then forget it. I'll visit you every now and then, but don't break my balls. Well, we'd have to check with the Argentinian culture, because your mom was that way. Your mom told me, my dear, you take care of him. Elohim placed me in a context. Are in charge now. Elohim placed me in a context that is so special in order to be able to teach this. Or else I could not teach this to you. How the fuck would I teach you if I were one of those that there with their little mommy? Oh, wow. My mom said, hey, here's Christian. He is a package that's very special. Here it is. Now you take care. That's the way it is. And that is what I sucked from. That is why I tell you that You have to learn to develop that. I am teaching you. You will learn it here or afterwards, but you will learn it. You will learn it.
Lo van a aprender.
That competition between one woman and another should never exist. Once your
Una vez que su hija
son
se
got
casó,
married,
él
leave
tiene
your
que
daughter-in-law alone.
Es más,
Be on your daughter-in-law's side, not your son's side. If your son comes to tell you bad things about his wife, they say, don't tell me. If you don't like her, then get divorced, but don't tell me. Fuck off, you idiot. Just straight like that. Don't be the confident or the shoulder to cry or the restaurant. None of that. You have to cut off away, and the woman will be free. Now I'm speaking, maybe there's a mother that says, I can't understand how Christian is saying that I love my son so much. No, your love is sickening. Your love is sickening. Your love has to be dedicated to your husband. Your sons are nothing next to your family. That's it. Out. Out. As soon as they're grown, why don't they fly away and fuck off? That's it. It's over. I'm your mother for now. But afterwards, almost that even if I see you, I can't even remember you. I was so much pleasure to fuck off from Argentina. I came to a country where I didn't have any relatives except for Leslie's dad, but at first we didn't even see each other, and there was not all that relation. But either way, I left my family. How beautiful is that? The people say, don't you miss your mom? No, I don't. No, just like that, no. I'm with my wife. It is beautiful to leave back, to cut away with that relation. When the parents die, let them die. They live their life. Absolutely. But how difficult it is to teach that when we were taught all the contrary, because the one that was in charge to place what you feel about your mother, notice, I'm your mother, I'll be your mom forever, be here for you, to cook for you, to love you, come here, my love, come here to your mom's house. All those things that are recorded, which are not bad in various aspects, they become sickening when the mother takes a place that is not hers, which is that of the wife. Exactly, and the mothers have so much problems because of that, because they don't know how to cut away with that, for worrying with whom he married. No, leave your son. If he made a mistake, let him get divorced, or a gay son or a lesbian daughter, let them have fun. No, because just it's a being aside from him, that's it. Wow. I mean, it is actually very easy for me to say it, but for you, maybe it's very difficult to accept it. Our function as parents, there's a term. It has a term, just like that. Just like also Yahweh fucked off to hell. We never saw him again. Give or take, it was the same thing. It was beneficial to us. He's in the shadows with Maduro in your country. He's there making your life a hell, living hell. It's perfect, but he's there. We had to develop ourselves as humans. We had to develop ourselves. What was I going to tell you? The story of the prodigal son. Where did he go wrong? His mistake was that he didn't have a plan, an intelligence of investing that money. Because if he had left, give me whatever you want, but I'm out of here. Perfect. I applaud that. That young man, this young man goes, and he goes and buys a place, and he starts to do things to live independently. It would have done excellently well. It was not the problem to ask for his inheritance. The problem was to not spend it smart. And that is the key of the story that nobody understands, that he has to be forgiven. If you don't use your time, your talent well, of course you're going to have to come back, crawling back. That is for sure. We can see that in story, but the story is not about us being the prodigal son, that we ask God for something and then we don't spend it because we're sinners, and then we have to go crawling back, Father, forgive us, we're your servants, treat me. No. None of that is what the story is about. If one of you has ever seen what I've said before I said it, I want you to write it in the comments of the video. And what was, if I prefer to be the prodigal son, completely the prodigal son, is except that I would not spend the money incorrectly, and if he did so, it's an experience that the other son of a bitch will never have. Because money is something that's lost, and you can make more. You can make more. It is a proven fact that the rich, when they lose all their money, they're the first ones to get it back. Why? Why? Let's suppose here we have a poor person in a poor family, poor parents, and then we have a multi-millionaire that he lost his company. He did a bad investment, lost everything. He has debts, and we have both people without a house, without anything. Which of the two has a better chance of being rich again? This one, none. This one, more than 90%. Why? Because the mind is here. It's all in the mind. The rich mind is here. So then the young rich man, the prodigal son, it was a good thing that he did to fuck off and leave. His mistake was that he didn't know how to spend his money. That could happen to you, because if he had done that correctly, then he would make an empire for himself, an enormous empire, enormous, like the father's, and he would be his own boss, not his dad. It is horrible. Not when you're young. Don't misunderstand me. No, this message is not speaking to my children or anyone. It is horrible to live your entire life in a clan in which the father is the patriarch and all the sons work. They're waiting for the father to die to see if one of the sons goes up to the patriarchy. Personally, I don't like that. Right, I don't like that. I like when the father has a company, and when the son matures, he gives everything to the son, or he makes a division for the son. That is okay. But for everyone to work for the father, wow, that right there, it wouldn't go with me, for example. It wouldn't go with me. For example, in a field, especially, they would have to live with the father always until he dies. You understand that, right? So then I congratulate the prodigal son. I congratulate him. It was extremely excellent. It was okay for him to come back because he lost everything because he was an idiot. Then, okay, I'll go back now. I'll go back now. He'll accept me either way because he's my father. That's true. But he had a chance of gaining everything back. That is completely true. The other guy was an idiot. The other one would never step out of the path. He would always stay in the sure path. Everything, respecting everything. That one did not deserve a feast with the fattest calf and a beautiful ring. He didn't deserve all that. But the prodigal son did, because he risked it. He did it wrong, but he learned a lot more than the other one. I'll tell it to you right now. It could have gone well if he had been more intelligent. There's a lot more to learn from that story, but at least I gave it to you, give or take, just like that. In conclusion, mothers, learn to cut away that link from your sons when they leave, and sons, cut away that link when you get married. You belong and are of a woman. If your sister, your aunt, your mom, or the cunt of whomever cooks more, you have to say no. No. I'll stay with what I chose. Just like that. No. Your mother invites you, just you alone. You say no. And you set her in her place. You set her in her place, your mother, so that she learns also. Not just, of course, no, my mom, I can't go. No. When you want to educate her, you're going to tell her, look, Mom, don't invite me alone. If you want to invite us both, me and my wife, or else don't invite me to eat. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, but of course. They can even designate a day where a whole family eats together. That's perfectly well. I love that. Don't misunderstand my words. If you say on Sunday we all eat together and they want to come, that's fine. Because they all cooperate, they all help. It's beautiful. I'm speaking about the separation when the son eats in the house of the mother, when the mother feeds the other, when the wife feeds the neighbor. Pay attention when your wife says, oh, give this over to Luis on my behalf. Just look, why don't you shove that?
Me lo das a mí
Either
o
you
se
give
lo
it to
dices a
me
la esposa de Luis que se
or
lo haga él.
tell Luis's wife to give it to him. Pay attention to those
No
details.
permitan,
Do not
porque hay que
allow,
educar.
because you have to
No estoy
educate.
hablando de maldad
I'm
ni
not
pecado,
speaking
estoy
about
hablando
sin.
de
I'm
que a veces
talking about that
no
sometimes we
sabemos
don't
lo que
know
expresa nuestro
what our
inconsciente.
subconscious
El
expresses.
inconsciente se
Our
expresa y
subconscious
pensamos que son
expresses, and
buenas
we think that are
acciones.
good
Mi
actions,
vecino,
like my neighbor. Even,
Cholito, y de
oh, but I
comida
feed
a Precious.
Precious.
No,
No,
hijo de
you
mil
son of a
putas.
bitch.
Me estás malcriando mi
You
gato.
are
Mi gato no come.
upgrading my head. You fucking bitch doesn't eat your food. Next time I'll fucking break your face in, and I'll turn your car over if you feed my cat again. That's just to start with. That's just to start with. So then the wrath of God will come upon you if you feed my cat again. I mean, don't even. You don't want to know what will happen if you feed my wife. That was just my cat. That was just my cat. If you feed my wife and you want to be smart about it, then there would be a wrath of God part 2, Apocalypse interpreted by the Christians. I mean, imagine. Just imagine. That's the way it is. So then, apparently there are good actions which have lots of evil. Completely. I want to explain that psychology so that you learn. Mothers and sons, learn. I like that question a lot. I loved it. Just like that, I loved it. Very well. Invitational text. I hope I have not left anything in what I wanted to say. Pay attention to my corrections. What time will be the chicken? 1:45, right? Okay, 50 more minutes speaking. Pay attention to my corrections, and I will fill you with my spirit. I shall make my thoughts be known unto you. Proverbs 1:23. Everything that I've explained since I've told you Shabbat Shalom today, it's a lot more important than if I were to study the Bible, just any text in the Bible, without explaining anything. Because it's life lessons, it's codes. Learn that word. Learn that word. I like to use it a lot. There's always codes. Codes of how you should act. Codes of how you have to do and act in certain things. These are codes. For those that are married, for the mothers, for the fathers, it's codes. Leave your sons in freedom. And if your son is held on to you once they get married, then give him an incentive and help him to cut off the umbilical cord so that he can mature. And I'm speaking about when they get married, mind you. I'm not saying to people that live with the parents. No, I'm talking about when they get married. When a person joins another person already, a woman, it is very important. So then it's a lot more important than if I were to read an entire chapter of scripture. And we're here in a school, and we have to teach this to all of humanity. Why do you think that all types of VHSs come? Because of this. It is because of this very reason. It is difficult to control it, I know. It is very difficult to control it. But we can, little by little, start to understand the codes. And these are codes of conduct. Isaiah 14:26 through 27. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth. And the hand is stretched out upon all the nations. Wow, what a figure, what an image. I always read this too when we start to talk about the subject. How impressive, right? For Yahweh of hosts hath purposed it, and who shall disannul it? With that question already, a light is open that somebody could disannul it. And his hand is stretched out to destroy everything. Who shall turn it back? The Elohim of justice will turn it back with no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Because in the prophecy, clearly, it is indicated that Elohim comes to destroy everything, and or else, if he doesn't send Elijah first, he comes and destroys everything. So then there is someone, and the scripture, since it is concealed, gives you a solution. The solution is there. We don't have to make anything up. The solution is written there. So then, in this school, we're precisely in that. And I'm not trying to say it because it would be too corny to say we're the last hope of. No, this is by design. This is by design. It's not that it's the hope of we do wrong and yes, everything would end. No, this is by design. Whomever it might be, if it is, if 100 leave today, it's only 10 listening. Doesn't matter. Even if it's just this lineage, this will be fulfilled. This will be fulfilled. Period. Even if there's no one here, this that it is fulfilled, it'll be fulfilled. There's a determination, and once you understand this, it starts to make sense. The whole story of creation does. Exactly. Or else there's not even design. There's nothing. There's nothing. Prophecy upon Babylon, Isaiah chapter 13, 1 through 22. We know that this Babylon is the Babylon of this time, evidently. Now, this also will not be fulfilled, because it's all the things which Yahweh would do if it weren't because the Elohim of justice appears to stop him. He would never do it because he's already designed who will stop it. But in order to make this whole mixture in this scripture that is concealed, Yahweh utilizes this because the whole world believes it. It's like when a child says, or a father tells his son, I'm going to hit you so hard if you do that. And that's a lie. He's not going to hit him a lot. He's just threatening him. If you touch that, I'll hit you with this stick. The kids like this. If you put your finger in the light bulb right there, sometimes you exceed yourself in the threat in order for the other one to not do it. The same thing as Elohim. This is something which is extremely excessive, but which everything is annulled by the Elohim of justice. But since it's not here, that it's annulled, and it's somewhere else, the people believe that it'll be fulfilled. Isaiah 13, 1 through 22, prophecy upon Babylon revealed unto Isaiah, son of Amos. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Who? The destroyers. The destroyers of the world. I have commanded my sanctified ones. They're sanctified to destroy and kill. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, an anger of Yahweh that will never be fulfilled. And those who rejoice in my highness, I don't rejoice with the glory of Yahweh to kill everyone. So then you have to start to see how this is written. Noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. A battle which will never take place. That is why the Mashiach has 1,000 years of work without battles, of war, a difficult task. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh and the weapons of his indignation. A wrath that never gets here, an indignation that will never take place, to destroy the whole land. What does it say in this threat? That Yahweh and his weapons of indignation don't come to save, not to redeem or purify, they come to destroy. To destroy how much of the earth? The whole earth. Howl ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. It should say lit. Behold,
día de
the
Yahweh
day of Yahweh cometh,
terrible
cruel,
y de indignación
both with
y
wrath
ardor de
and
ira,
fierce
para
anger,
convertir
to
la
lay the
tierra
land
en soledad
desolate,
y raer de ella
and he
a
shall
sus
destroy the
pecadores.
sinners
Son-
thereof out of it.
Ya
In
la
other words,
definió que
everyone.
no hay justo
The
ni a uno, ¿no?
Bible defined that there's
Para
no
Yahweh
one
son
that's just. So
pecadores.
then for
Pero
Yahweh,
cuando
they're
va a
all
raer
sinners,
a
and
todos.
he'll destroy whomever.
Esa es
How
la
many?
creación de
Everyone.
Yahweh, un
That
aplauso.
is the creation of Yahweh.
Hace 1000 años
Just like that, 6,000 years to destroy it.
hubiera raído todo desde antes.
He should have done it since a long time
¿Por qué
ago.
6000 años?
Why 6,000 years?
No va a existir, no va a
It
pasar.
will not take place. It
Esto
will
no va
not
a tomar
exist. This
lugar.
will not take
Pero ¿quién
place.
te dice eso?
But who
Te
tells
lo
you
dice
that?
el único que te lo puede decir.
The only one that can tell you that
El
tells you.
resto
There's no one
creen
else.
en
The
esto
rest
y quieren
believes in this.
salvarse como el
They
otro
want to
estúpido
save like that other idiot,
Cristian,
Christian,
el uruguayo,
the Uruguayan,
diciendo,
saying,
nos vamos ahora el 18.
now
No
we
veo la
leave
hora
on the
que llegue el
18th.
18
I
para
can't wait for the 18th to get here just to laugh.
así reírme, porque
Just
ya
to laugh
la
at him
pendejada-
because already that stupid shit, I can't take it. Tell the truth, I can't take it.
y menos de la gente que estaba
And even
acá,
less from the
o sea,
people that were here and left.
encima usan
To top it off, they
palabras,
use
aleluya.
our words, hallelujah, they say. Oh, I mean,
Yo no puedo creer.
I can't believe it.
Ok.
Okay, anyway.
He aquí el día de Yahweh
Behold, the day of Yahweh comes terrible,
indignación y
and of
ardor de
indignation
ira
and
para
fierce
convertir
anger
la
to lay the
tierra en
land
soledad
desolate,
y raer de ella
and he
sus
shall destroy the
pecadores.
sinners thereof
Por
out
lo
of it.
cual,
Therefore,
las estrellas de
the
los
stars of
cielos y
heaven
sus luceros
and the
no
constellations
darán
thereof shall not
y
give
el
their
sol
light.
se
The sun
oscurecerá al
shall be
nacer,
darkened in his
y la
going
luna
forth,
no dará
and
su
the moon shall
resplandor.
not cause her light to shine. Just lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. Just like that, lies.
Y castigaré,
And I will
castigaré al
punish,
mundo por
and I will
su
punish the
maldad.
world
O
for
sea,
their
que a
evil.
Yahweh,
Let's
de
punish
él
Yahweh,
nace la maldad.
because it is born out of him.
Yo hago el mal y el bien.
I'll do evil
Y
and
castigaré
good,
al mundo por su maldad,
and I will
y a
punish the
los
world for
impíos por su
their
iniquidad,
iniquity, and the
y
wicked
haré
for their
que cese
iniquity,
la
and I will cause
arrogancia
the
de los
arrogancy
soberbios,
of the proud to
y
cease,
abatiré la
and I
altivez
will
de
lay
los
low
fuertes.
the haughtiness of the
Haré más
terrible.
precioso
I will
que
make a
el
man
oro
more
fino al
precious than
varón,
fine gold,
y más que
even a
el
man
oro de Ofir
than the
al hombre.
golden wedge of
Porque
Ophir.
haré
Therefore I will
estremecer los
shake the
cielos. Ya lo
heavens.
hiciste eso, Yahweh.
You've already done that, Yahweh. It doesn't work.
Lo hiciste,
You've done it.
les cuento.
Now I'm
No
telling
voy a
you.
dar explicaciones a él,
Not
porque
to give
sabe.
explanations to him. He knows that this
Pero te
doesn't
cuento a
exist.
vos que
But I
crees
tell
que
you
Yahweh lo
who
escribió
you
mal.
believe in this, that Yahweh wrote it to
Yahweh
fulfill
ya
it. No,
mostró
Yahweh
que esta
already
técnica no
has
sirve.
shown that this technique
De
does not work.
todo el mundo salvó
Out
a
of the
uno.
whole world, he saved 8.
Y la maldad,
And the wickedness,
según la Biblia,
according to
sube
the
el
Bible,
doble después.
goes
Entonces,
twice
no
as
importa
much later.
si
So then it
dejas
doesn't matter
a
if you
4
leave 4
varones, porque
males,
dejó a Noé,
because he
dejó a
left
Sem,
Noah,
dejó
Shem,
a Jafet y a Cam.
Japheth, and Ham. 4.
Más, más poco imposible. 4.
Less than that, impossible. 4. And 4
Y de
women.
ahí venimos todos nosotros.
And that's where we all come from.
Entonces,
And so then,
¿cuánto reduzcas?
no matter how much you reduce,
Aunque reduzcas hasta el último,
even if
la
you
maldad
reduce to the
está
very last one, wickedness
impregnada en
is
nosotros, porque somos Dios.
impregnated in us because we are
Somos
gods.
Dios.
We are gods.
Somos el bien y el
And
mal.
we are good and evil.
Bien y
We
mal.
are good and evil.
Y encima que somos
And
Dios,
to top it
somos
off that we're God,
recontra
we're completely
mal
misupbrought,
aprendidos, mal educados,
miseducated, with a dog shit culture, in dog shit countries, with a dog shit mom, with a dog shit dad. I mean, that hurts you. Why do you have to say that? Yes,
todo es una mierda.
it's all dog shit.
Venimos en un mundo de
We
mierda,
come in a,
con
we live in a
una
world of
Biblia
dog
de
shit
mierda,
with a dog
todo
shit
es
Bible.
mentira.
It's all
Entonces, ¿qué
lies.
pretende Yahweh?
So then,
¿Qué
what
vas a
does
sacar?
Yahweh expect?
Uno.
Well, he doesn't have one.
Uno,
He doesn't have one except
se fue formando
for
al
what was
final del
formed
tiempo.
at the end of
Es
times,
el Elohim de justicia,
which is the Elohim of justice,
que entiende
who
que toda la
understands
culpa
that the
de
whole,
todos los actos,
everything that is to blame,
no importa si es
of
maduro,
everything, no
no
matter if it's
importa. Por
Madur,
eso
it doesn't
cuando
matter.
me
That's
hacen
why
esa pregunta, me
when
doy
they ask
cuenta
me
que
those
todavía
questions, I see that
no
that
están
mind is still
entendiendo
not
que no
understanding
importa si es maduro
that it doesn't matter if it's Maduro or my neighbor Benny.
todo lo hacemos
Everything
mal,
we do it wrong
porque el diseñador
because the designer made us that
para que
way
hagamos las cosas
so
mal,
that we do things incorrectly, very incorrectly,
para después entender
so as to later
qué es
understand
hacer el bien.
what it is to do good. So then,
Toda esta historia
this
no
whole
tendría
story
sentido
would make no sense whatsoever
si
if
no es por un final
it's not due to
que es súper feliz.
an end that is more than
Final
extremely happy, a glorious
glorioso. No de
end.
destrucción,
Not of
ni de
destruction.
hijos de puta, pero
I'm
si
gonna
hay
destroy the
hijos,
sons of
están
bitches.
todos
You
muertos.
destroyed
¿Qué?
everything. They're all
La
dead.
generación
What? The
pasada,
last generation?
las ganas con la
You
última
gonna
generación y toda la
do
demás.
it away with the whole last generation, what about the rest? They don't suffer your wrath. That makes no sense to say if he were to raise everyone and give his soul. It's so completely stupid, completely idiot. No, we're God's. And the end that comes on this earth is glorious, glorious. Like no one can ever, there's no rapture. There's no rapture to a dog shit heaven. Heaven is this, and we'll do it here. And it'll be so glorious that it'll be even way past all perception that you may have of reality. Because we're going to make this into actually a heaven, a fantastic heaven, where death does not exist, where we have power to bring from death in its time, that all human beings to act through codes, to act correctly, for everyone to be prospered and to have adventures, and for everyone to have the power to do evil, because it cannot be eradicated from a God. It cannot. We have to have the potential of being able to do evil, or else we would be computers. I've explained this millions of times. But in a world in which respect exists, evil is always there, under control. So then this will be something magnificent, spectacular. I can't wait for it to come. Maybe we have to wait a long time until the year, whenever Yahweh wants. That doesn't matter. What matters is to understand this, that this is our heaven, this is our land, this is our society, and we are about to enter into the new millennium. And the new millennium will not be a drastic change. It takes thousands of years, 1,000 years to educate the living. Imagine afterwards the rest. 1,000 years. It's fantastic, everything that we're living. Fantastic. We have to have patience. We have to have lots of patience. Because now I understand it even more. This is not about a glorious return, a change from one day to no. No, it'll take a long time. A long time. Just like it takes you a long time, like it takes me a long time. Like, little by little, you start to understand things. That's how it'll take in this whole humanity. But everything that I'm reading is false. It is a lie. Yahweh did not create this earth to destroy it. On the sixth day, which is today, the sixth millennium, at the end of times, he looks and he says, this day was good in greatly good. But of course, a part of the creation, which is the seed, is the threat, and also the creation of the Son of Man. It is the creation of the Elohim of justice. Because if all these things, terrible things that I'm reading, were not written, there wouldn't be an Elohim of justice that rises to defend humanity against this. There wouldn't be. There wouldn't be. It would be in behalf of God. I'm on behalf of God. I worship God. Worship be God. No, none of that here. None of that. None of that. Not worship God, nor let's ask for God to forgive us. No, none of that. The Elohim of justice says, that's it. It's enough. 6,000 years of curses. I can't plant a fucking watermelon that they all eat, the bugs eat. I can't do anything because I'm filled with curses all over the place. I see it, the death. I can't do anything. None of this is the man to blame. I read that to top it off, God comes indignated to destroy the earth without any sense, and the wrath of God. Who the fuck are you to have wrath against what you created yourself? Wow. And everything started because of fruit. That's where everything started. Once that is understood, you say, oh, okay, then it's a different plan. This wrath of God does not exist. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. That's why, can we change the apocalypse? There's no need to change it. You have to understand it. The apocalypse doesn't talk about destruction, about complete redemption, absolute redemption. And this that I'm reading here, it is the threat that would have taken place if Elohim does not send the Elohim of justice, but of course. So then it says, I shall punish the world for its wickedness and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will stop the pride of the... and blah, blah, blah. 13. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. In the wrath of Yahweh of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. Well, first of all, I have to say that Yahweh is not upset. He's not indignated or upset. He's sort of smiling right now that there's someone, at least a small group, of very little people that are understanding this, because if this is understood, then he can fulfill his plans. As long as this is never understood, of course, his plan could not be fulfilled. I will never know with certainty, complete certainty. I'm going to say something stupid. I'm going to say something stupid. I'm going to say something stupid because I'd like to reserve the right of not knowing this. I will never know unless Yahweh tells me, and I'm not even sure I will believe him, whether this that we're living took place because it had to happen for sure, or strictly by design and creation. Because also there could have been the fact that he said, I'm waiting for someone to rise up in opposition to everything that I've written, but for him to still fear me in the sense of the fear of Yahweh, not by eliminating me, but by fearing me, and to top it off, loving me, and also understanding everything which I've written. Of course, we think that this is by his design, that's fine. But there's the possibility that many of us, it's also a part of our search. I don't know. For what reason do I think that? Well, then why do others come that then leave? If someone came and then left, it's not that Yahweh called him. It is because he didn't like it. That is clear. It's not that Yahweh called him and then he was hardened and he did the contrary to the call of Yahweh. No. What if this whole group that we're here, we're not called by Yahweh, but Yahweh knew that an opposition would rise up to his plans, and that opposition to his plans, he was going to call it the Elohim of justice. I cannot prove that this is so or not, but it would have even more of a value that we consciously we understand that this is not, nor will it be fulfilled that way. Of course, there could be something from him to say, well, this is the time now. This is the time I'll make you read certain things. He guides you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I cannot think that my mind is programmed. Because if it's programmed, then I'm a robot. No. Yahweh, what he can do is kind of like guide you, nudge you in the right direction, but your mind is the one that reasons. And if your mind reasons what I'm telling you, then you cannot go and listen to some other idiot that says that a secret rapture is coming. I can't understand. My mind can't. I can't. Because if you reason what I'm teaching, then you know that you're a special group. That no Jesus comes. No, Jesus does not exist except for us. We are Jesus. We are that Jesus, Christ Jesus, that the world will see. It's just that until they see and understand and accept that, maybe a long period of time will take place. And in order for everything to be okay, the time will pass. It's as simple as that. But that Christ Jesus are we. Just like that. More direct and said impossible. Impossible. Until you understand that, until you understand it for real. Not that you listen because you like it, but in your heart you still have a Jesus and you're capable of saying Jesus. And you say, oh, Jesus looking up on heaven. You haven't understood shit. There's no Jesus in heaven. There's no nothing. You have the Creator. His name is Yahweh. And Jesus, Yeshua, the Christ, the Mashiach,
somos nosotros.
Are we?
Somos nosotros.
Are we?
Eso no viene
That does not come
de golpe a una persona.
all of a sudden
que no
to a
sabe
person
quién
that doesn't even know who they are.
es. Eso se entiende con
That
mucho
is understood with lots of time
para una preparación.
for a preparation.
Sigamos leyendo.
Let's continue on with the reading. It says,
Porque haré estremecer los
Therefore I
cielos
will
y
shake the
arrojaré
heavens, and the
la
earth
de su
shall
lugar
remove out
en
her
la
place in the wrath
indignación de Yahweh
of
los
Yahweh
ejércitos,
of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. No, Yahweh is not upset, nor is he with wrath. He's more than joyful. In fact, he feels pleasure, absolute pleasure, that the Elohim of justice is understanding all this. I can imagine his smile that he has from face to face, to the point of saying, okay, it comes to time that I'm going to call him already to give him everything. Because once I call him, he has to understand things clearly. I'm not call a Donald Trump that doesn't understand the thing. I'm not call some pastor, Christian pastor. I'm not going to call some pope. I'm not going to call Mother Teresa. I'm going to call some guy that believes himself to be the Messiah, with a group that believes to be the Messiah. I'm going to call some poor idiot that still kneels down asking to be forgiven for his sins to tell him that he's the Messiah. No, that cannot be. I'm waiting for the Messiah. I want to be saved by the Messiah. Let Christ Jesus come. It cannot be. There has to be someone that understands things absolutely clear. That is the time that we are living in now. So then instead of being upset, Yahweh, he can be extremely happy, absolutely. And right now, exactly. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up, they shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. That group that Yahweh has, that is, which is all the contrary. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before them. How beautiful. Their houses shall be spoiled, and my favorite part in this insanity, and their wives ravished. Just to top it off. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces. How beautiful. They're going to play to shoot the target with the children. People read this and say, God is love. God is love. Because this will never take place. This does not take place. This is for precisely to prepare the entrance of the Messiah. When the whole world believes, or believe that an end of the world comes, that's where the Messiah will come. It was an actual pacifier in the good sense of the word, bringing peace. Behold, I will rise against them the Medes that will not covet the gold or the silver. There also bows shall dash the young men, and they shall have no pity in the fruit of the womb. In other words, pregnant women. And their eyes shall not spare the children. In Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms and the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, which they weren't even left anything of them. It shall never be inhabited. What a beautiful creation. Neither shall it be dwelt in for generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. All this is a soap opera which will never take place, because Christ Jesus comes, the Mashiach, the Savior. Zephaniah 1 through 18. Oh, it's 2:30. Did they go look already? Oh, what? It's oh yes, 1:40. Okay, no, it's fine. 2 hours, 28. Yes, of course. 1:40. 1:40. I think 2 left already. I said they left to their mother's house. No. Today we said hi to their dad since they listened to us. They didn't say, no, my dad listens to you. What the fuck is he going to listen to me? Anyway, if somebody understood this, if not, don't worry about it. Zephaniah, should I read Zephaniah? No, I should read it and leave it for next Shabbat. For next Shabbat, I'll leave it. Because today we're going to celebrate the birthday of Haiti with Campero chicken, pollo campero. Yahweh, when he was here on earth, this text I'll read later into depth, but just to wrap it up. Yahweh, when he was here on earth, he came to play the role of a Mashiach, a Messiah. Not because of the special reason, only to show the true Messiah, what he had to do, but also to conceal his presence between his creation. Within his plans, which are his, he had to come and die as a man to annul the death that he dictated. We're not talking about only the law, the Torah, no, the death of Adam and Eve for having stolen the fruit. So then, the only form of disannulling the death of Adam and Eve, which is and the consequence of everyone else, he had to come and die for himself. When he died, then he broke away with the penalty of death, the eternal penalty that he had dictated himself. Why did he do it so well? That's his problem, not mine. And also he wanted to experience as God death. If he's like me, that wants to experience the limits and say, well, since I've invented death, let's invent it in a way that I cannot in my body entirely eternal, which cannot die, but I can experience it through another body that I'll take. A body of a human being. But when he's here on earth, he played the role of the Messiah when he wasn't, and he read this. He read this, giving to understand clearly that the one who clearly says this, fulfills this, is the Mashiach. Isaiah 61, 1 through 11. I'll read in the Jerusalem 2001. Isaiah 61, 1 through 11. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because he has anointed me, he has made me a Mashiach, Yahweh has, because Yahweh has anointed me. Yeshua said that, who was Yahweh. Impossible. Now we clearly understand that he would have been a son of God or a Mashiach. He was Yahweh. So then, who says this? The true Mashiach. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, for hath anointed me. Yahweh hath made me a Mashiach to announce the good news. What good news? Is it the so known gospel? No, absolutely not. The Mashiach didn't come to announce the gospel of Matthew, Luke, Mark, and John. Also not Paul's, just his news. The good news of the Mashiach. To announce, that is why the Spirit of Yahweh is upon him. To announce the good tidings unto the poor, he has sent me. Notice if the message of the eternal truth is not actually a good news. Notice whether there is a better news than that of the eternal truth. That they will all live eternally, that they will all be redeemed. That when the time comes, There will be a spectacular world, and all who have existed will exist again, living in harmony. No other dog shit of Matthew, Luke, Mark, John is a good news. Those are good and old and misinterpreted and cheap Christianity. To announce the good news unto the poor, and to bind up the brokenhearted, of course, to proclaim liberty to the captives. No one has proclaimed liberty. No one. No, not Paul or anyone. Absolutely no one. What liberation that Paul tells you? If you're evil, you go to hell. And don't even mention the Gospels. Don't even mention the Tanakh. The Tanakh talks about nothing but death. But what does the Mashiach say? The Mashiach has a message different to everyone. To preach the captives liberty, and those that are imprisoned liberty. Liberty, liberty, liberty. Hear, O mortals, the sacred yell. Liberty, liberty, liberty. Hear the sound of broken chains. To preach the year of grace of Yahweh. Day of vengeance of our Elohim. Vengeance against whom? Vengeance could be against Babylon, the power. To take it away from them and to give it to the Mashiach. That is the year of grace of Yahweh. Which we still don't know exactly when it'll be, but when it will be, he will preach it. Because the Mashiach first, in order to understand it, and to have the exact date, he has to have a reunion with Yahweh, to preach the year of grace of Yahweh, the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn, to give them a crown instead of ashes. To give them what? To give them a crown instead of ashes. The oil of joy instead of mourning. No one has done that. Not Yeshua, not Yahweh, dressed as Yeshua. No one does it. It'll be done by the Mashiach. This is the task of the Elohim of justice. And it's something that's absolutely magnificent, which has nothing to do with the day of the wrath of Yahweh. Nothing to do with the fact. It's the contrary, completely the contrary. Oil of joy instead of mourning. The garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called, oh wow, it's many of them. It's a whole group. They might be called trees of righteousness. There you have it. Trees of what? Of righteousness. Righteous of right. Trees of righteousness is another name of the Elohim of justice. Trees of righteous. Whom? The Mashiach. Unto whom? Unto the Mashiach. The planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. To do the planting of Yahweh, that he might be manifested in his glory. And I'll tell you, whether there's 200 or 100, or they all leave, or whomever is left, doesn't matter how many they are. That number is the number that Yahweh designed. Perfect. It is a planting to manifest the glory of Yahweh. Unto whom? Unto the whole world. Not the wrath of Yahweh, not the destruction of the earth. It is the trees of righteousness, because they'll bring righteousness for the first time. This is the government of Yahweh, the sons of Elohim. More clear, they cannot have it. It's talking about the Mashiach, and then all of a sudden he says, and they shall be called, more than one, trees of justice. Planting is not just one tree. Planting of Yahweh, that he might be glorified. And they shall build the old wastes. What are old wastes? They'll edify a new world, the one that we have. Make it modern completely. They shall be called, no, I'm wrong. They shall build the old wastes. They shall rise up the former desolations, because they will rebuild the true story and everything that is done in this 6,000 years. And shall repair the waste cities, the desolation of many generations. They come to build, not to destroy. And the strangers shall come. These are those who don't belong to the Mashiach. They're strangers who are alive. I'm telling you, because it's all in symbols. because the scripture is completely concealed.
Vendrán
And strangers
extranjeros,
shall
o sea,
stand, in other words,
gente que
people
no
that don't
pertenezca
belong
a este-
to
a estos
these
robles de
trees of
justicia.
righteousness.
Vendrán extranjeros y
Strangers shall
apacentarán
stand and
vuestros
feed your
rebaños,
flocks, and
e
the
hijos
sons
de
of the
extraños
alien shall
serán
be your
vuestros
plowmen
labradores
and
y
your
viñadores.
vine dressers.
¿Qué significa
What does
esto?
all
Que
that
vamos a-
mean?
vamos a tener
We're going to have
esclavos.
slaves? No.
Todo el
The whole
mundo
world
nos va a ayudar
will
a
help us to rebuild this.
No van a ser todos
It's not going to be
a la vez.
all of them at the same time. It'll be little by little, they'll start to
No
join.
es por
It's not by
magia,
magic,
es por
it is
convicción.
by conviction and not by slavery
Ni por ser
or servitude,
sino porque vamos a reconstruir
but
un
because
mundo
we're going to
nuevo.
build a new world,
Se hace una nación
just like a new nation is built,
y se requiere
and it
mucho
requires
trabajo.
lots of work.
Y vosotros
But ye shall be
seréis
named,
llamados-
it is very clear, it is very clear here, but ye,
Vosotros,
who are
es
ye,
vosotros,
talking
palabra
about
de
the
Dios,
Mashiach,
seréis
shall be
llamados
named
sacerdotes
priests
de
of
Dios.
Yahweh.
O
In
sea,
other words,
Kohanim
Kohanim of Yahweh.
¿Y qué es
What's a
un Kohanim?
Kohanim?
Son
It's
los que
those who
administran
administer the religion and the power
de
of Elohim.
ministros
Ministers
de
of
nuestro
our
Dios se
God,
llamarán.
they shall be called. The only ones.
Son diferentes
Different
nombres para
names
los hijos de
for the
Dios.
sons of Elohim, the bride of Yahweh,
El
the Mashiach, and all the rest.
el nuevo
The new
gobierno
government
que se viene
which
sobre
comes upon this
tierra.
earth,
Y el
and
mundo
the
lo va a
world would
reconocer
recognize it
totalmente.
entirely.
Va a llevar
It'll
su
take its
tiempo,
time,
pero lo va a
but
reconocer.
it'll be recognized.
Por
That
eso
is
nos
why
vamos a
they will
llamar
call us
los
the
ministros
ministers of Elohim.
Sí,
It continues.
la
Ye
riqueza
shall
de las
eat the
naciones,
riches.
dice,
Notice that there's
dice,
lots
va a
of
haber
riches. That will be
muchísima más.
lots more riches.
La riqueza de las
The riches
naciones,
of the nations ye
comeréis.
shall eat.
Ahí está
There it's
hablando
talking about what we
hablamos de
talked
comer,
about eating. It is
justamente
precisely,
se nos va a ser
it'll be
traída
brought to
la
us.
riqueza
The riches
para
will be
comer.
brought to
Va a
us.
ser
Not that we'll
presentada
eat, will be
ofrenda
presented as an
a
offering to whom? Unto the Mashiach.
ese
That
grupo
group
de robles
of trees of
de
righteousness. All the riches of the nations, it'll no longer be the foreign dead or the international bank sons of bitches. No. But for the Mashiach.
y de buena gana, no porque
And
nos
by
llama
goodwill,
a
not because the Mashiach says, now you're going to bring me this. No, by goodwill, because the people are going to be so thankful
empiece a
when they
hacer
start to
bien.
understand all this.
La riqueza de las
The
naciones
richness of the
comeréis,
nations you
y
shall
en su
eat, and in their
gloria
glory
les sucederéis.
ye shall
Toda la
boast
gloria
yourselves.
de
All
las
the glory of the
naciones
nations
va a ser
shall be
dada
given
a estos
to
robles.
these trees of righteousness, to the Elohim of justice.
Por cuanto su
For your
vergüenza
shame
había
ye
sido
shall have
doble,
double,
y en
and for
lugar de
confusion
afrenta,
they shall
gritos de
rejoice in their
regocijo fueron su
portion.
herencia. Por
Therefore,
eso,
in
en
their
su propia
land
tierra
they shall
heredarán
possess
el
the
doble,
double.
y tendrán
Everlasting
ellos
joy shall be
alegría
unto them.
eterna.
For
Pues yo,
I, Yahweh,
amo
love
el
judgment,
derecho, y
and I hate
aborrezco la rapiña
robbery
y el crimen.
for burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth,
Lealmente.
and I will make an everlasting covenant with them.
Será conocida en las
And their
naciones
seed shall
su
be known
raza.
among the
¿De
Gentiles.
quién está hablando?
What is talking about? But the same thing, different names. The Elohim of justice. You. It's talking about you. About us. It's talking about.
Acá no hay ningún
There's
tipo
no
de
Christ
mensaje
Jesus that comes from heaven here. You see how this
que
prophecy has nothing to do with the Christ Jesus
que los
that the
cristianos
Christians are
están
waiting
esperando
for
todos.
in the clouds? No.
Se
They're
equivocaron
wrong.
y mal.
Completely wrong.
Será conocida en las
And it'll
naciones
be
su
known,
raza.
your
¿Qué
race shall be
raza?
known among the Gentiles. What race? The race
Nosotros
that
estamos
we are
denominando
denominating
Una raza
Argentum.
diferente.
It's a different race.
A todos, una nueva
It's a new
nación.
nation.
Es una
It's a
nueva
new
nación
nation
que vamos a
that
ponernos,
will
inventarnos
make
nuestro
our
propio
own
himno,
hymn,
nuestra
our
propia
own
bandera,
flag,
nuestro propio
our own government.
todo lo vamos
We'll
a
do
hacer.
everything,
Y nuestras reglas
and
también,
our
todo,
rules also, everything,
absolutamente
absolutely everything.
será conocida
It shall be
en las
known among
naciones
the
su
Gentiles,
raza
your race will,
y sus vástagos
and their offspring
entre los
among the
pueblos.
people.
Todos
All
los
that
que los
see them
vean
shall
reconocerán
acknowledge
que
them
son
that they are
raza
a race,
bendita
a
de
blessed
Yahweh,
race
una
of
raza
Yahweh, a
diferente,
different race,
porque va a
because
ser
it'll be
con un
with
nivel
a
de
level
gloria.
of glory that's different.
Todos
All
nosotros
of us
seremos
will be
diferentes,
different to the rest,
visibles,
visibly so,
gloriosos.
gloriously so.
La
The
gente,
people,
cuando
when they
vea
see
a Cristo
Christ
Jesús,
Jesus,
se va a
they
postergar.
will bow down.
Y son varios
And
Cristos.
it's many Christ Jesus. It's a whole group of trees. Who knows how many give us like? Let's see how many gave us like. How many give us like? 310. And maybe it's 1,000. Maybe it's 700. I don't know. But those, whomever they might be, those who have been preparing with patience every Shabbat, understanding things that they didn't understand before, things which they find insane, but once they understood what's basic of Yahweh had, and that the Mashiach are we, then Yahweh will give them this, and they will be a different race. That is why I've told you, you're no longer Colombians, Guatemalans, Mexicans, not even Argentinians. We're Argentinians from our Argentina, a new Argentina, LVE. It will be known in the nations, your race will, and your offspring, your children, among the peoples. All that see them shall acknowledge that they are a race, a special one, a holy race of Yahweh. With joy I will rejoice in Yahweh, and my soul shall be joyful in my Elohim. Look at what the Mashiach says. Look at what the Mashiach says. That is a literal phrase of the Mashiach that Yahweh wrote here. With joy I would rejoice in Yahweh, because the Mashiach loves Yahweh. He understands him completely. With joy shall I rejoice in Yahweh. My soul shall be joyful in my God. It is a wife speaking about her husband, for he hath clothed me with garments of salvation. Garments of Yeshua. He hath made me salvation. The word salvation is Yeshua. Made me the Christ of the nations. Not just that. It says the other magic word, which determines what I'm saying. For he hath clothed me with the garment of salvation. He hath clothed me with the garments of righteousness. He has covered me. Robe of righteousness. He hath robed me. For he is the Elohim of justice. That's why it says. Because. That is why I lost exactly how it starts. Your throne, O God. He's telling the Elohim of justice. Forever and ever. Because you have loved justice and you have abhorred wickedness. That is why Yahweh has anointed thee. A scepter of justice is the scepter of your kingdom. That Christ anointed with joy more than anyone is this. He says, with joy I will rejoice in Yahweh. My soul rejoices in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation. Salvation for whom? For him? No, salvation for the entire world. He hath covered me with a robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as a garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so Yahweh will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. We are that justice which is being brought up by Yahweh, and it is growing. We are a little plant that needs either more time or more food. But that little plant which Yahweh made to sprout up will receive the praise in the presence of all the nations. And there's not a message that is more spectacular and splendid than the one that I just given you. The destiny is written, the end of the Mashiach and the glory that he will receive is inevitable. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve, crowned with glory, let us live. Our Father that art in heaven, we give you thanks because you have left all these messages so that the Mashiach understands who he is, so that the Mashiach prepares himself for the task that he will do, to receive a robe of righteousness and to impart righteousness. And because of that imparted righteousness, to receive the glory, the riches, and the worship of all the nations. We only ask you that it's soon. That soon you tell your son, you are the owner of all these nations. You are the Mashiach. I have begotten thee today. You are now the king, and you can rule all this. We thank you for, in your precious name, Yahweh Sabaoth. Hallelujah. Semper Fi. An applause for the Elohim of justice, who is preparing himself, which Yahweh planted on this earth, and which will receive the glory of all the nations. Which are we, who understand these things, and which soon will take place. Hallelujah to every one of you. Remember, thank you for the aguante, for the support, for all your souls of care, that you'll be rewarded greatly, 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 and even greater than what you can think or imagine. But in the meantime, remember that in 45 minutes, Boca will be playing Aguante Boquita. Let's go Boca. Hallelujah to every one of you. We'll meet again next Shabbat, if the Lord so wishes. Hallelujah to every one of you.